Welcome everybody, 7 o'clock, so we have to start promptly and so welcome to everybody, especially our visitors, thank you for coming. And I think that's the first item on the agenda is the public question time. So I think you know that you've just got 3 minutes to speak and you're going to speak about your grant application, which is from Home Village Community Group.
Or Home Village Residents
Association.
Yes,
Thank you.
the two do overlap, but sometimes the overlapping doesn't always work. But hello everyone, my name is Mary Walker. I've lived in Home Village for about 47 years and I have applied for £1,500 for a one-off celebration evening, or I'll explain later, 2 evenings, for the to mark the National Peak Park's 75th celebration. It's also the 95th celebration of the mass trespass, of course, 20 years earlier, and we now have this wonderful park. I felt that this celebration would mark also the opening of our community centre in Home, which you very kindly have supported us over the last few years. But I also felt it was really important because the whole of Home Firth has benefited from being in the position to benefit from the Peak Park, both in terms of bed and breakfast, business and so on. So what I applied for is a small evening. We only have insurance for 50 people up at the Home Community Centre, so it would be a sort of trial small event with musicians, poets, writers and of course the audience, probably not involving more than the local children at that first evening in September, towards the end of September. But that we would then do the whole thing but magnified in the Civic Hall here, so that anyone in the Home Valley could come, and we might even perhaps go to 2 evenings depending on the support and how many tickets are sold. In this second performance, we would include children. We'd go in and also belong to the Home Firth Writers, and we would encourage local children to write poetry or to explore the National Park and give some feedback and stand up and say something at the festival. Yeah. My credentials are simply this. I worked for many years as Pandora's Daughter, storytelling and puppetry, and I've also organised the Moving Parts Festival for Lawrence Batley of puppetry and animation, and I hope to get some of those skills into it. And finally, a very devoted member of Home Valley, and very determined that we put on the best possible show for the people and get awareness of the Peak Park and how valuable it is.
Thank you, Mary. That's great. Do we have time for questions now or not? Yeah. Anybody, any questions for Mary? Yeah. I think you've explained your application really well, so thank you for that. It's quite a long way down the agenda that we'll be looking at it, so you will get informed about a decision at a later stage. So you're welcome to go, you're welcome to stay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next item on our agenda is to say that the meeting is going to be recorded, but does anybody else want to record this meeting? No? We're all happy with the this recording system that we've got? And then the next item is to accept apologies for absence.
Yes, so as you would have had by email, obviously Councillor Colling has a dispensation, but we've had apologies from Councillor Green, Councillor Davis, Councillor Kirkby and Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. So then we've noted those, and do we approve those? Yes. Thank you. And next item 109, receipt of declaration of peculiar and other interests. And there's probably quite a lot on the agenda.
No, this is just for the DPI form.
The DPI form. Okay. Are there any new forms being submitted?
No.
No. Okay. Right, so the next item is declarations of interest in agenda items and any written dispensation. So, yes, Councillor Rothschild.
It's an I'm not sure one. The Holmfirth Arts Festival bid gives their address as the Fair Trader shop. I'm a shareholder at the Fair Trader, but I don't know anything about this trust. Is it just a postal address?
I
A
think
poste
it is.
restante?
I think it is because I,
Yeah.
yes, I think
So I'm
it is.
okay.
I don't think.
I'm not saying I'm going to say
Yeah.
much or anything,
Yes,
but
no. Councillor Ryler,
I'm a tech shareholder.
thank you. Councillor Bellamy.
Yeah, I attend the Brockles Village Trust meetings. I'm not actually a trust member, but I do attend their meetings as a Kirklees Ward councillor.
As a
I
Kirklees
don't
councillor.
So I don't think, no, I should be alright,
Yeah.
shouldn't I? But I just wanted to make it clear,
Yeah, yeah,
because obviously I
Thank
go
you.
to all their meetings.
Councillor, God, I always want to get Damien.
I volunteer for Home Pride and I volunteer for River Home Trust, so I won't speak on either of those.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan.
I've got a dispensation, but I'm trustee of Conwy Library.
Councillor Stewart.
I'm a shareholder of Tech.
Thank you. Councillor Dixon.
Grant B is for the Hugh Patcher Trust. So when I was chairman of the council years and years ago, I raised money for the charity. I've also done a few things to help them out all over the years, but
Okay.
probably nothing for the last 10 years, if that counts for anything.
Yes, I would have thought there's no need to leave the room
No,
for that
it's-
at all. No,
It's gone, hasn't it? So
it's gone.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Councillor Whitelaw. Whitelaw.
I'm secretary of Holmfirth Film Festival and trustee of Cafe 100. I attend Home Residents Association. That's because it's in
I
my
don't think
ward.
you need, yeah, I don't think that would
I
be.
attend community centre meetings because I'm in the ward. I'm a member of the Heritage Group. I'm an ex-trustee of the Conservation Group, and I'm shareholder of the Tech.
Can you stay in for anything? I hope you can stay in for anything.
Can I
So-
just add that I also volunteer for Friends of Conwy as well?
Okay, thank you.
Have we got an application from the fund?
I don't think we have.
Oh,
No,
no.
I don't think so. I don't think that's on the
It might be.
agenda. Anyway, yeah, that's okay. Any admins, Councillor Ryler?
I have done some volunteering for the River Home Connections. I'm not doing it at the moment, but just to flag that up.
Okay, I personally think you could still stay in the room and add anything useful to the discussion, but are we happy for Councillor Ryler to stay in the room for that
Are
meeting?
you a member of?
No, sorry, volunteer.
I don't think that makes a difference if you're on.
I'll leave the room anyway, it's just easier.
I think you should leave the room
Just
anyway.
easier.
It's just
It's
more
fine.
transparent, isn't it?
Not a problem.
Okay, I mean, I always have a problem with this because I think sometimes you'd be the best person to speak and tell us. I know, okay, and we've all been transparent and we've all declared what we think is important, so I think, are we all happy with that? Yeah. Okay, I'm racing through a little bit because it is a very long agenda. To consider whether any items on the agenda should be discussed in private session. We've sent them the papers for the civic out separately, but I wouldn't have thought there's
I
anything
don't
that
think so.
needs to be. Anybody else have anything to say on that? Okay, so 112 is to confirm the minutes of the previous committee meeting. Any points to raise, matters to raise?
You
Any
need to get it approved.
Oh, we approve it before we matters arrive. Okay, anybody want to approve the minutes of the meeting?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So we've approved the minutes of the meeting?
Yep.
Yes? And now you're going to do matters arising from those minutes?
I mean, they're written down here rather obviously. So, with regard to the VAT, remember we've had the situation with the VAT that we owe on the garages. I spent ages on, you know, when you phone up one of these health lines and you're trying to, some AI person is trying to say, explain to me what you mean, what you want. Like, it was virtually impossible. Eventually I got through to a human being, but she put the phone down on me, so I went back. Deliberately. Yeah, so I went to the HMRC website and basically looked for advice there. And what it said basically was they are only bothered about a lot of money. If you know that their kind of cut off is like 10,000 quid. So their attitude for this small amount is just to put it on our next return, make sure that it's recorded somewhere, i.e. we'll record it in the next minutes of this meeting and I'll record it, and then just to pay the 513 quid, and that be
And you
it.
can forget it.
Well, not forget it, but it's there. It should be there with a trail.
Yes.
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 But then, yeah, we've at least shown that we're conscious of the problem, we've addressed it. If they then come back and say, well, you need to do X, then at least we can show that we've tried. I think it will probably be all right as it is.
Okay.
You need to approve that because it's obviously doing something.
It's
Councillor
very
Allen?
commonsensical and I propose we approve it.
Absolutely, yes, seconded, yes. And thank you, Rich, for chasing that up as well. I can imagine the patience you need for that, so thank you for doing
And
that.
then the second one was just a note. I'd made an error. Well, not an error, but I haven't correctly coded the training and social progress. We agreed to via money from the communications and engagement pot, so I've corrected that, and that's now coming from the correct pot.
Okay. Okay.
That's just a note.
Thank you. We've noted that. And then the next item, 2526-113, is to prioritising the climate action activities. And I think when we're considering this, we've got to remember that this is a key priority for when we're giving grants. So we've got to bear that in mind at every meeting, but especially so today. Grant evaluations. We've got one from Cliff Rec, so thank you for that. And one from Homley Business Association, DFIBS. Any comments on that? No? So any further action? I think we just asked Rich to chase up any that haven't come in yet.
Sure.
Any other action? No. Okay. And then the next item, which I think this is quite pertinent that this comes before we're looking at the grant, is the grants working group, which is unfortunate that Andy isn't here because he was going to report back on the grants working group. But I think Rich has volunteered to do.
So you'll see from the report, from Councillor Wilson's report about the recommendations of the group. There are 8. It's in sort of section 2 of the report. So I'll just read them out for you. So the first thing was to formally issue a grants policy. It was thought that we've never had a grants policy. We're just kind of working off a process really, but it's never been set down and kind of approved in a committee like this. So that was the first thing, was that we developed a grants policy. The next bit was to revise.
Can I just ask, do you want us to approve these as we go through, or
No,
do we
no.
do it in summary at
Well,
the
I
end?
would just do it. I would just
Okay,
do them all in one go because you're
Okay.
approving the whole
the
thing
whole
really.
bundle.
Unless people have issues with anything, of course.
Okay.
And then the grants priorities, it was we reviewed the grants priorities, reworded some, and then we added one in which was about encouraging or promoting the well-being of the people of the Hope Valley. The next bit was about the grant application form and the evaluation report, bringing them in line with the new crest. Point 5 was about moving to a single grants pot for next year, so we do away with this having X amount in one pot and X amount in the other pot. Continue with this trial system. I know we haven't used it a great deal with this process of gifting items and therefore claiming back the VAT. One of the aspects of the application form was we actually asked for people to tell us about their VAT, because if you notice from the grants applications this time around, there's not a lot of mention of VAT. The only one I could see that was fairly obvious was the Kissing Gate. That one did have VAT, but most of the others, I mean, you know, as of, you know, it's an agenda item further down. I will ask people, but I think doing it this way, it's, you know, it'll be clear there what that is being paid. The next bit was the process of handling applications outside of the normal February-September cycle. And the final bit was about things that we considered but then didn't decide to do, which was we considered having like a panel essentially to decide whether applications would get to the committee or not. We decided that wasn't a great idea. Similarly, we considered the sponsorship model. Obviously, that showed up some problems. We considered an annual thematic priority for grants. We decided that wasn't workable, and we thought about changing the rolling grants process and giving people the opportunity to ask for a rolling grant. So those were the 8 recommendations of the working group that is described in greater detail in the report, and obviously you've got the applications on all the rest of that stuff. So this would be to you know, to cover the process for grants for the next financial year, the next council year.
Thank you. There was quite a lot of reading and things to consider in this, so has anybody got any points to raise or additions to make? Councillor Whitelaw?
It's an observation really, and it's perhaps something that I was a member of this working group, and it was in the reading of the grant applications for this cycle that made me think maybe it would be a good idea next time we have a look at this to think about collaboration between groups and asking people to say what their associations are or their joint working might be with other groups. Because when you think about it, you look at some of these and I'm thinking, well, that and that, they could be really supportive of each other. So things like River Home Connections and Home Brand, you know, really good ways of networking and working together, and perhaps working smarter and more cost effectively as well. Anyway, that's not going to get added in this time round, I absolutely understand. But I'm just saying, maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Well, we have continually been refining and making improvements to this, which I think is good.
Just say about
yes.
This is a work in progress and reviewing and seeing how things pan out. So,
Councillor Bailey.
Well, first, can I say I think it's a great piece of work. This, I did raise at an earlier meeting that it would be good to see an obligation on fund recipients and grant recipients to acknowledge the support of the parish council now. And see, that might have got tied up with all the kerfuffle about sponsorship, and I don't know whether it applies to the other. Is it in there already?
Yeah.
Is it?
it's in the recommendations.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
apologies.
There's a lot of work in this, so there's a lot of sections to read and read through.
My
So
apologies.
I'm not surprised that you miss it, because I think that is an expectation that they do acknowledge that where it's appropriate.
Yeah, there were issues, you know, when I was doing that stuff about sponsorship, there were issues about what you could encourage them to say. It had to be a fact. It had to say this project was funded by Home Valley Parish Council.
Yeah.
That's kind of, you know, you can't get them to say thank you to the Parish Council. If they want to thank you, that's different, but you can't encourage
That's
it.
how they have to.
Yeah.
Councillor Lyles.
Damien and I were talking about grant applications when we came in this afternoon, and we spoke to Rich about it already. Some of the applications, the applicant who fills it in is redacted. And like, for example, if I knew the person who filled the application in personally, but I didn't know that they'd filled an application in, and then I voted on that, how do I prove that I didn't know that that person had applied for that grant and that I hadn't?
Because you have only seen the redacted version.
Yes, but I think that the council should see the person who's applying, and the public should see the redacted version.
In fact, the chair and Rich do see the unredacted version.
I appreciate that, but you don't know what my personal
No,
relationships
of course I
are with
Yeah.
people in the valley.
Has
I
this
think-
been considered before?
No, I mean, When I started with the parish council, that was always the approach. That the redacted version was what went on the website, and it was the redacted version that went out to the councillors who weren't the chair. But I think it's a fair point. It's perhaps again something that the working group can consider.
Because you know I like to call a spade. I don't want to be called out for not being honest and transparent.
Yeah, I suppose the other aspect is though, if it is GDPR related, it's, you know,
How can it be though when we're making the decision?
Councillor Blackburn.
I mean, I think the relationship is with the organisation and not with an individual, really. I think if we know the organisation and we work with it, obviously you declare an interest, but I think exactly who fills in the form is in a sense not relevant, really.
I think so. And I think at this point we consider it, the working group felt that it had completed this work, so we can't make that change at this point, but it can be considered, I think, in the, when it's looked at again. Is that true?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like, does it really matter who fills the form in? Because you could be best friends with somebody else who's part of that group, not knowing they're part of the group, but they haven't filled the form in. So does it really matter who fills the form in?
It does to me, yeah. That's why I raised it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Councillor Whitelaw?
I take a slightly different view.
Which
Yeah.
is completely
Which
yours.
is that, and then it's about subjectivity and objectivity, and whether one is able to put on one side one's personal knowledge or personal relations and be able to make a judgment about something purely and simply on its application and criteria and set aside the people involved. And I think that's a matter of trust in people's integrity and their ability to make those sorts of objective decisions.
And we should be making those decisions, all the decisions this evening, we should be making according to their application and whether they meet the priorities and the criteria. There shouldn't be any subjectivity as to who we know. Yes.
A declaration of interest rely on you being quite open about the person and relationship with people and that one there. So that would indicate that anybody who fills that form in there and the applicant on that version there, you would need to be aware of any relationship you have with them. You could have a business agreement with them, you could rent, buy, or do anything like that from there, and it could be assumed to be a declaration of interest. I would suggest that for the sake of this one there, for just releasing that one there, the name itself, just not any further details, the person's name would give you an indication as to whether you should declare your interest in the person. It's
Can I
quite
just
simple.
remind you that it is on the onus of individual members to make the declaration as they consider
I
appropriate?
appreciate that, Chair. However, you have to know that you've got a declaration to make, don't you? That's the point.
Yes.
I
I
think
don't fill that form in, do I?
I think it's something we can perhaps discuss with
There's the one
YLCA.
later on in the meeting with the Paris Piscatorials, and I know some members of that fishing club. Some of them, I'm a member of other clubs with them people. Some people there, we have joint assets together because we're members of other clubs.
Okay.
I just
Do
feel
I
that that's
declare interest
inevitable
on
when we're in a community, we're going to know people who are in the different groups. Councillor Osborne?
I would think that if you don't know who has submitted the application, then you can't be biased in favour of whoever that person is. If you do know who submitted the application, then you can make a declaration.
At that point in time?
Yeah.
Also true. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The
Councillor?
declaration isn't about what other people, or what you know at the time, it's what other people might think. And it's marked on the view of other people. They may say, you knew that all along. You knew that person was. And if someone assumes that you knew that information there, even if you didn't, you could have been then held to account for that one there. So if you do know somebody, and they fill that one in there, and you said, well, I didn't even know it was them, do you think people are going to believe you on that one then? Or are they going to say sceptically that you knew that person and you did that? Leaves you open. I think it's just an easy process, just to put a few names on things. It's not difficult at all.
I don't feel strongly about this, but I don't think we should spend too much time discussing that now, partly because it's a very long agenda, and I think if you want to declare, we make a decision that names go on, that you can declare personal people you know. Councillor Dixon, it's something, the last comment on
It
this.
depends how far you want to go with it. I know that Damien's very much involved with Home Pride. I see these pictures on the Facebook group and to do with that. I And Jodie's next to him all meetings, you get lifts up him, your friends with him, you're very close with him. So should you declare Home Pride as having an interest in it because you're friends with somebody, a colleague of somebody, a political party, sat next to them all the time?
That's not an application for a grant, Tom. Where's the
No, but you're involved with it.
No,
You're
you're
involved with the group very much, aren't you?
I've
So,
never even met
so if you don't fill the form in, but you can still be very involved with the group, or somebody else could fill the form. You could even fill the form in and somebody else could put their name on it.
Can I
the
just
name,
say-
the name doesn't matter.
Councillor Myers.
Can I just say, right, that if I like being whiter than white and you like being grey, that's your prerogative, but I like to be whiter than white.
Okay, so can we leave it
Okay.
at that then? If you want to declare it, we will submit it to the next working party for the Grants Commission as to whether they should go unredacted or not unredacted. Is that okay? Okay, well, I think so. I mean, I think there are much of what is in this report is really only a clarification of process that we've had in practice for some time. It's just things are more clearly worded and more concise so that we can be more objective when we come to these meetings. The one big change is perhaps one that would have been relevant to tonight is having one pot of money. Because if we're going to be, when we're looking at these applications today, we will have to get full permission from full council to via the money from one pot to another. So I think that is a change that only really becomes effective next year, but I think that's one of the very positive differences between what we're looking at today and what we'll be looking at in the next council year. Councillor Wagner.
I think one of the other positive differences, and this is really important, is the change to the application form where
Yes.
grant applicants have to indicate which of the parish council's priorities their grant sits against. I mean, and I think that is a considerable move forward.
Yes, I would agree with that. That's a change in the application form. So I hope we're all happy with the new application form. I think Richard's got to work on trying to squeeze all these new things into it, but it is basically what's been there before, but much more clearer for the applicant. Councillor Rossworth.
Two things. Firstly, a question is, do unsuccessful applicants, is there a history of them appealing the decision? They don't.
I don't think I've ever. No, I mean they're more often just express disappointment. I'm not conscious of an appeal.
Yeah, somebody who's been subject to many appeals. I asked that question.
Okay.
Secondly,
Okay, right.
Secondly, just in the management of expectations, really, you know, we're looking at a situation tonight where £11,000 more than we've actually got has been applied for, and lots of these applications have very strong claim for funding. Is there something in the grant committee consider putting something in the literature to forewarn applicants that even though they have very strong claims on the grants, you know, getting a grant, that maybe we won't have enough money to satisfy all of them, so they may be getting less than they've applied for or nothing at all.
Yes, I think that, I don't know whether that is, it's not specifically information that they get on the website. I do know that Rich writes very good thank you letters and expresses a disappointment and often gives reasons, which is that our budget isn't sufficient, which maybe this is something that makes us think, is our budget sufficient? Should we be putting more in the budget for next year if we're getting more good applications in for groups and organisations that we want to support? So, I mean, I think we've got some really difficult decisions to make tonight, because I think there are some groups, we've got some fantastic groups that are doing a lot for the community, and we've got to make some hard decisions as to which ones we want to support in full or partly. Are we all happy with can we approve the work that the Grants Working Party have done? Anybody want to propose that we approve it? Councillor Rosson, is anybody second it? Councillor Osborne, thank you. Once we've made this decision, so can we vote to approve it? And can we note that because it's been passed, it is something that we should all be in support of?
You didn't get the against.
Oh, sorry, against. Abstentions. 3 people abstaining, okay. But you do recognise your, what's the word? Collective
Jennifer
responsibility to not go against this policy once it's been approved by everybody.
No.
Councillor Whitelaw?
I think it's really important that we sort of bottom this one, because the advice from the NACL is that decisions taken by council are to be adhered to by all councillors, regardless of whether they personally support them or not, and that they should not be undermining those decisions in the public domain. So I think it's really important that we're clear about that requirement as a part of the code of conduct.
I absolutely support that. Yes, Councillor Lyons.
Respectfully, I abstained, and it is my decision to vote whichever way I please.
Absolutely, I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah, but that was not the point
Not
that,
arguing with
that Councillor Whitelaw was making. It's not to undermine that decision publicly. And I think, as she says, that's part of our agreed code of conduct that we've all signed. Okay? Thank you. Okay, so that's been approved, so we're moving on to rolling grants. We've got one rolling grant to consider from Honley Business Association for the CCTV. And because it's a rolling grant, I think we've just got to get somebody to approve it.
Yeah, propose.
Propose it.
Yeah, we're going to approve it, yeah.
And anybody second it? Thank you. And do we have to all vote in
Yeah,
favour
yeah.
of it? So we all vote of approving that to the CCTV system in Honley. Thank you. And then on rolling grants, we've got to note that next year, as the last year of the current council term, is also the last year of any rolling grant agreement that's approved by the parish council. So I don't think that means, I think that means that we should not accept any additional rolling grants, that any grants that we give will just be for this council. Is that right?
We've got one,
We've got one that will continue.
yeah.
Yeah, we all happy with that? And it's, again, we note that these are the ongoing rolling grants. I think the only one that caused me a little bit of concern was the Home Valley Transport that has ceased to exist. And do we want to do anything about that, or they're just going to be tying up their affairs? I'm disappointed that that's ceased to exist, because we did feel it was a good project that was doing something beneficial for the community. All the money that's at the end, they're going to donate to a charity, and they're asking us, is there any charity we want to have any money in the pot donated to, or do we want to reclaim the money? Councillor Lyons.
Previously, we've asked for the money back.
I know, I think because it is partway through, I think they might have spent some and not spent some, so is that what you want us to do?
Well, that's the rules. They have to give it back.
Yeah, I'd second that.
You second that, okay. So do we want to vote on that, asking for it to be come back, so ask for it to be returned? I'm happy with that, yeah. Okay,
Chair.
any further
Chair.
action on rolling grants? Sorry,
Sorry, can I make
Yes.
a comment on the transport work?
yes.
I think we still have a transport working group.
Yep.
Yes? Can I suggest that we have a discussion in that working group about what might be possible in relation to the demise of this particular group? Because there are a number of things bubbling up from around the business community that might help in relation to re-energising that. I mean, yes.
So have you got a proposal?
No, my proposal is that the transport working group review or have a look at the possibilities for the patient
Okay.
transport. This,
So,
the demise of.
representatives of
that's
the
all.
transport working group, are you happy to take that on board?
Yeah.
Okay. We all happy with that? Okay. Then we've got the big challenge of the evening to look at who we do give grants to and who we don't. So I think the first thing, we've got a total Our budget is 43,548 and 10p, and we've got requests for 55,239.60p. So our shortfall is 11,690. Now, our first job is to ask if the money can be wired from one pot to the other. Do we do this now or at the end?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think you have to treat the community assets grants against the community assets budget, and then if there's money left over after you've considered them, you know,
Okay.
of themselves,
Okay.
that they meet in the criteria, then you might invoke the moving. I mean, that's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're looking at. It's
You're not-
artificial to look at two.
Okay,
it's
so we'll
artificially
look at
looking
all
two
the
pots as
assets.
one.
We'll look at all the assets in the first place together, and if there's any money left over, we'll then ask for it to be fired to the projects and events. Is everybody happy with that? Yes. Councillor Whitelaw?
Well, you might not need to.
We might not need
You might
to.
not need to, yeah.
What I mean is you might not need to because the project grants might not all be cleared and there might be enough money.
There might, so yeah, yes. I mean, I think we don't, well, because this money has been allocated for grants, so we do want to use as much of it as we can, so long as the applications meet our criteria and priorities. So that's what we've got to bear in mind all the time. Do they match our criteria and priorities?
Sorry to labour this one, but I personally wouldn't want to be saying we've got to spend all that money.
No, I didn't mean that.
No, I didn't. I'm just clarifying for myself.
Yes. But, you know, I think this is both the best meeting of the year, or one of the best meetings, when we're actually allowing groups that benefit our community so much to function well. But it's also the hardest because we know we're probably going to disappoint some groups as well. So we've got to work through it as positively as we can and really try to make the right decisions for the benefit of the community. Okay? So, are we ready to move to the first one, which is Brockholes Village Trust?
Do you want to, I mean, there's bits here that you need to consider about the VAT bit and
Okay,
work
sorry,
through the
that's-
note,
yes.
work through the note bit.
Okay, the list of grant applications being considered against budget, lines 4315, community assets, F in the appendix, and 4405, projects and events, G. Roaming rights awarded previously have been deducted from the budget totals.
Yeah, you don't need to go into that detail, just go through it point by point.
Okay. Do we want to note the
report, yeah.
the report on previous grants awarded to applicants in this state? But I think that should come into our consideration. It's one of the criteria that we've got to consider, whether they've had much money from us previously or recently. And we've already covered the next bit about the rolling grants into the current council year, haven't we? Consider, if approved by the committee, should the clerk ask about reclaiming the VAT? I certainly think that's true.
So the situation, as you know, with the VAT is because of the way the application form is laid out at the moment, they don't tend to share the VAT. So to make this work in any way, it means that I've got to phone up these people or email these people and ask if there's any opportunity for the parish council to claim any VAT. So that's what I'm asking for, to actually prove
are we
that I
happy
do
for
that.
Rich to do that? To
So we can't-
reclaim any VAT?
So I'm kind of doing it speculatively, so
Yes.
you're kind of relying on me to
Yes.
assess which ones are workable and which ones aren't, essentially.
Yes, are we all happy to approve that? Yes. Councillor Liza, is it relevant or you?
No,
you're
that was to
approving it.
approve it.
Thank you very much. Right, so moving on to the very first one, the grant application from Brockholes Village Trust.
Do you not want to do the, I thought you were going to suggest doing them all,
Well,
I I thought when we spoke today, you were going to suggest working through them all and identifying.
Oh, I think, no, I don't think that's
Okay.
workable.
Okay.
I think I had talked to Rich about if we decide first of all whether we approve the grant and then decide how much to give it when we've looked at all of them. So, but having thought about it, I think it might take too long. And I think working through them all and giving a suggestion of what we think the amount we want to give them is probably more realistic. And if at the end, I think it's good to look at it when we get to the end of them and see if we want to make any adjustments. You know, if we've really underspent and we've got some money left, we might want to add some more to them. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Councillor Morgan, is it? No, that hand's just
No, that's
floating there. Okay. Okay. Councillor Whitehall.
So, Brockholes Village Trust, I'd like to support this application because it's a community centre which serves a large number of people in a very particular area, and fundamentally for me this is a health and safety issue.
Yeah.
So I think we should give them the lot.
Any other comments, Councillor Bailey?
My concern with this one was the amount of reserves that they're sitting on. Some of which, I mean, when they describe the position of the reserves, includes, I mean, it says about windows, and I don't know exactly what that means. I mean, I know that if it's similar to the Civic, for example, I can see that that's an issue. But I mean, also they've been priorities like chairs and PA system, and I'm thinking, I think the fire safety system would, for me, would be a higher priority than those.
Yeah, my thoughts on that were that, is this a core responsibility of a group to have good fire extinguishers? If it's a hall that has breakfast clubs and after school clubs and public use, shouldn't it be a core responsibility of that organisation to have pay as a priority over and above new chairs and PA systems? So they use some of their grant for those fire extinguishers? That was my thoughts on it, but other thoughts? Councillor, my name's Bailey. Bellamy.
Yeah,
Sorry, my brain's not working today.
I do know that Brockholes Village Trust are having to have the windows done because they're all a mess. I suspect as well their reserves won't be quite what they probably said in the application because they've just had to have their kitchen replastered and painted due to a water leak. I can absolutely tell you that.
Will that
because I
be-
know.
That be covered by insurance?
I don't think it was covered
Okay.
by insurance. I will say Brockholes Village Trust would be happy with anything, to be honest. I'm not saying that, you know, they would need all this, because they would pull in from
Okay.
somewhere else. But it is, they actually are one of the cheapest places to book, to rent. I think some of them put prices up because they're ridiculously cheap. One of the cheapest in Valley to book there.
Yeah, and it's very pleasant and they do a good job. It's
Well,
great. So there's lots of reasons to support them.
Mm.
I'm not quite sure the full amount. Councillor Dixon.
It does say in the report that they've some of the high and medium to high severity issues have been addressed by the trust already after they've done the report of them. So this is something else that you have to do in addition to this, or part of it, the whole thing. So it is, I get the impression that they have spent probably quite a bit of their own money on part of this, and it's just to complete the rest of the project to upgrade.
They have
this,
spent some of the they have had funds from the parish council previously
Yeah, yeah.
towards this as well.
Okay.
Councillor Stewart.
It says it's to upgrade the fire alarm system and fire doors as a key element in meeting current legislation. That's crucial. You know, they've got to do those things. I know we haven't necessarily got to give them the money to do it, but they've got to
They
do
have
it
to
to
do
do
it.
that.
It's a core responsibility.
Yes, it's not a...
Councillor Brooke.
I'd like to support Councillor Whitelaw's motion for this one now that we vote to approve this in full. Looking at the list of users that use the centre there,
It is used by now,
it's
yes.
quite a used and benefit to the entire community, so I can wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Whitelaw and propose that we vote in favour of this.
Is there anybody who wants to propose funding it by less of this? Councillor Bellamy almost suggested they were happy with.
No, I said they'd be happy if it's less. I didn't say give them less. I would
No,
prefer
you'd be in
to
trouble
have it
with
all.
you. Councillor Bailey.
If you don't mind me just speaking for a second time on this one. One of the things I noted on this was that they're not applying for funding from elsewhere, and this seemed to be true for quite a lot of the applications that we're looking at this evening. I think that's disappointing, to say the least, and I would have thought that sort of building would be eligible for funding through various channels, and it kind of leads me to think perhaps we should actually be giving people some links as well. I don't think we should be advising them, but we can start to point out some of the channels, including the Kirk Lees officer, that actually gives particular advice at the moment on these funding streams. Aaron and so on. But they have had a lot of funding. Oh, well, just they say no on here.
Dad also panels, don't we?
I'm just
Just a quick one on that one there, Trent, I agree with Councillor Bailey on that one there, it's a good idea, perhaps that's something we could do, the grants working group could consider that also, that potentially when you put your application in, you could have you look through the funding first.
It is on the.
So if that's on there, so they may have looked into that one there.
But give them some tips as to where to go.
So again, I'll go back to that one there, I'd like to vote on approval.
Councillor Lyons.
I'd like to move to approve this money, please.
Okay,
It's for
anybody to
health and
second
safety,
that?
it's for fire, it's for the community.
Second that, okay. So go to vote then. Okay.
We'll go again.
No, I don't want to go against that. Sorry. Anybody going against it?
No.
Yes, one against it from Councillor Beck. You want to say something before we?
It's just a concern that we seem to be taking them in order, and if we were to approve them on in full as we go along, we'd run out of money about 3/4 of the way through. So if we're voting to approve it in full at this point, we need to bear in mind we might want to come back and say, well,
I think we could, when we've gone through them all, we can see if we've got any money. But I think Rich has a way of, this was the first application to be received. So he does some, the order in which they appear on the agenda is the first come, first looked at. So, but I quite agree, I don't think the ones that are in last should not have our full consideration.
Councillor Rostrom, I don't know if you've been to one of these grant meetings before, but normally we've all looked at them and we have a rough idea what we want to give to them, so we might suggest less for certain grants, because every time we've had a grants meeting, we've never had enough money. So therefore, we usually do go hard.
And Councillor Knight, I have been to these meetings before, and I just want to make sure that we don't find ourselves in a tricky situation later on.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Rostrom. Right, the next one is the grant application for the Hugh Thatcher Trust. Any comments on that one, Councillor Blacker?
I mean, this is really difficult, but I do think this grant application it doesn't meet the criteria at all. This is an organisation which is now defunct, as they say. There's no finance information at all. It doesn't fit with our grant regulations. It's an organisation which doesn't really exist. I mean, my thought really is I wonder if our chair might be. I feel strongly that we should give them something in the circumstances. If the money, the chair's money, perhaps.
You mean the chair of the full council?
Yes. If perhaps Glenn might be willing to use the money in this way, but I think having just approved a set of grant regulations, but even before that, the way we were handling grants before, this one really doesn't fit the criteria.
The only way I think it touches on the criteria, it is, I mean, I use that seat quite often as a member of the public, so it's not like it's a private memorial, it is a community seat.
But that is not the point. It's the point is to do with the organisation, which is, as I say, the family and friends. I just strongly feel that it's something we should support, but I don't think this is the appropriate way in which to do it.
So it's a pity Glenn isn't here tonight to ask if he'd be willing to donate that, but we could. Does anybody want to? Do you want to propose that that's what we do? We ask Glenn to do it. Yes. Okay, Councillor Lyons.
Can we take it to full council and have a discussion at full council about it?
No,
Not for
is
the
that
grant,
necessary?
but for the funding to come from somewhere else. It's not against
As a
the rules.
donation as opposed to.
Yeah, be it the
Okay.
chair's money or any other money.
Okay, yes, I mean, they do say the parents will pay for this if we don't, so it's going to happen. Councillor Dixon?
I think it's up to the chair who he donates his money to, but we can mention it to him, but I don't think it should go on an agenda because it's a private thing about who he might be choosing to give his chairman's charity money to, so we shouldn't put him on the spot. But yeah, I was involved in this group a long time ago when I was chair, and I did think when I looked at the form that it might not fit with our criteria, so I think it's unfortunate, but it's just how it is, and it is a really nice little plot, and they did a really good job of it,
Yeah.
so it's unfortunate, but it's just, we have these restrictions in place for a reason, don't we?
Yes, we do, and it is difficult, you know, because, yes, I mean, I think we should express our memory of Youth Lecture. It is very sad that somebody so young did lose their life on that particular playing field, and I think remembering him is something that I would like minuted that we, I don't know, thought about him.
I do, quite, when I see that
Yes,
bench,
I
or when I
know.
see the one apart, I come up particularly as well,
Yes.
because I've got to know Nick quite well, raising money throughout the charity, so you feel free to mention something about that as well.
Yeah. Councillor Whitelaw.
I'd like to support Councillor Lard's suggestion that we go to full council and say, can we find the money?
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Yes, do we?
Yeah.
So we've got a proposer and a seconder, and so we need to vote for taking it to full council to ask for a donation from somewhere. That's, yeah. Okay, okay, right. Next one is the grant application from Conley Players, for repair to their small meeting room. Anybody wants to speak for or against this one? They have got 14,000 in reserves. Does anybody want to propose that we pay a smaller amount to them as an expression of support, but not the full amount? Councillor Whitelaw?
Well, this is one of the ones where I thought maybe there are other ways in which sort of thing. I was surprised really that they hadn't mentioned going to Ponley Business Association for support, given the sorts of things that they wanted to, but maybe that's in the background. It seems to me that the sort of activity, so they're replastering, they're stripping plaster, that they might encourage volunteers to do some of the work to strip up. I mean, I know this is me saying, why don't you? But anyway, I would propose that we perhaps give them 3K instead of the 4-5.
I was thinking half. So, anybody, any other thoughts on this before we take a vote?
Can I ask for the rationale for half or 3K?
Mine was that you could get your volunteers to have a work day and chip off the plaster, and that will save you some money.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
I mean, having been to this hall fairly recently, I think the main hall is not enormous and perhaps meets the needs of most of the people in that community. So maybe this is one that we say, given our limited budget, we reject. Councillor Blacker?
I mean, their argument is that the big hall is too big for a lot of
It's not enormous,
activities,
though,
so therefore small. They are only asking for half of the total cost, aren't they? And they're funding quite a bit of it themselves. I mean, my suggestion would be that we give them the full 500. We are not short of money in the assets part.
But we are, yeah, okay, Councillor Dixon.
My thoughts on this are, they've got reserves of 14,000. The last financial year, the income was 20,000, expenditure 14,000. So they're making about a surplus of about 6,000, which is not a huge amount. And that 14,000 reserves, we just voted to give the full amount to Brockholes, £5 grand for some fire doors when they've got 45 grand in reserves, and these have got, their reserves are tiny in comparison, and it's a huge building which probably needs money spending on it and a lot of money to keep it going. So for them reasons, I'd be tempted to give them I think the full amount would mean more to them than it would do for the Brockholes group.
Can I second Mary's offer for full money, because at the end of the day it's a community space. You're telling me that I have to think about what it does for the community. Everything on that form fills out the community. Unfortunately, it qualifies, it's a community space. So I think we should give them all the money.
Okay,
Right,
that's-
we've got
Two proposals.
I know I seconded Mary's.
but we've got one proposal for 3,000. Does anybody second Sarah's proposal?
Jane wants to.
Sorry, Jane.
Well, I was going to say I agree that we should give them the whole lot.
You agree what?
That they should have the full amount that they're asking for.
So if nobody's going to second, then we'll have to vote.
Is anybody seconding Sarah's?
Mary's has already been seconded.
I've already
I know,
seconded
right,
mine.
okay. So,
Just go on that.
okay, let's vote on the full amount.
Councillor Backer, could you put your hand up just for the sake of the...
Is that coercion?
Yeah, that's carried.
Okay, the next one is the Home Pride for 637, so Councillor Brooke is leaving the room. Anybody want to speak for this one?
I think our price do an absolute amazing job, to be honest. So, you know, and it's not a massive amount of money that they're asking for, is it? And the amount of cleaning up and what else they do, they're always out. So I'd be happy to just, yeah.
Councillor Bailey?
I agree with Councillor Bellamy. I think they do a great job in lots of different parts of the valley. I couldn't get my head around why they were asking for this amount. You know, it's kind of, we'll take 250, we've got all these reserves.
Yeah.
We'll take 250 quid out of the reserves and then ask you for the rest. And I didn't understand the logic of that, because there's enough money in their reserves to pay for the lot.
Councillor Whitewell?
The observation I have on this one is their what they say about climate emergency. I really don't see how buying cans of Hammerite is going to attract butterflies, because actually that's about the bulbs that they planted, so it's actually nothing to do with what they've asked money for. So it just seemed a bit odd to me. There didn't seem to be anything in there that said this is how we are mitigating. I'm not saying it's not
And they're
worthwhile.
not mitigating it in other ways, you know, with planting, etc. Yes. Councillor Lads?
I think that we should approve it because we approve Honley's flower scheme, winter flower scheme, winter plant scheme,
The rolling grant.
the rolling grant for the
This is for
flower
equipment,
days.
it's not for planting, you know, so it's for
This is
tools,
tools and
batteries, Hammerite and the like. But it is in support of a planting project, even though that's not what they're asking money for. They're asking money for 2 buckles of white spirit and styles and brushes and stuff like that, you know. So, but it is a small amount and they do a lot for the valley. So shall we, does anybody want to propose?
I propose we approve it.
And seconded, Councillor Dixon, and shall we vote for it?
Councillor Backer, can you keep your hand
Oh,
up?
sorry.
Councillor Whitelaw, is your hand up?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 7. Oh, 8. Okay.
Okay.
No, again.
Against?
1. Abstention.
Abstentions? 2.
Okay.
Okay. Carry on. The next one
Should we get Jane
is...
back in?
Oh yeah, do you want to?
Yeah.
Somebody
Oh.
tell Councillor Burke? Home Community Centre is the
Can I ask
next
a
one.
question here?
Oh,
This was
yeah.
one of the things that I prepared because it's in my ward and I know what goes on. in the same way that Councillor Bellamy knows what goes on with. So I'll clear off if you want me to, or I'll stay. Whichever you like.
I'm quite happy for you to stay. Anybody disagrees with that?
No.
Okay, right. Okay, does anybody want to speak for this? They have already received 10,000 fairly recently.
They haven't supplied a grant evaluation report, but they have written to us as to why they haven't, and it's because the project for the toilets, they just haven't finished
It's
it
not
yet because of
completed
other
yet.
things, but it was a good letter.
Okay, so they fulfil that requirement. Councillor Bailey?
I'm just going to repeat what I've said in part last time we looked at at a grant application for them. I think they're doing a great job there. I think they're it's going to be a great asset to the village, to the area, and I really admire what they're doing as a committee and a group of volunteers.
And do you think they should get the full amount?
I think we're going to end up
Given
trimming everyone's anyway.
Well,
but
that's because they have had quite a lot from us recently. They've had 10,000 from us in the last two
yeah, but
applications.
I'm also looking at the total cost of this job,
Yes.
and actually it's a fairly small percentage.
And
of
they're
that.
applying to other groups for
Correct.
that
Oh
money
yes,
as well.
yes, I have
So,
that.
yes. Any other comments? Councillor Lyles?
My only concern with it was that when the lady came, was her name Mary?
Mary Walker.
Yeah. That she said that it would only be for a certain number of
It wasn't
people.
this.
No, that's the same one. That's
It's
the
a
same
later
one.
That's the residence one.
Mhm.
All right.
It's
so
a different
it's
one.
Yeah, hers was the
No,
big
it's all right.
mark one.
Right. Well, then I've no concern. That was my only concern.
Yeah.
If it's not
It's
about
going to be
that.
held there, but it's not
This is
there.
for the community centre.
So is it the community, this community?
It's the old
centre-
Liberal Club.
Yeah, does it still only hold 50 people?
Well,
That's a concern.
no question really, because the upper floor is now really quite big. So I would suggest that it'll probably take more than that
Yeah.
actually.
Well,
But
They're not.
I'm not an assessor of fire risk or anything, so
Okay.
I think this is for the first floor, the upper floor, isn't it?
yes.
Which is not at the moment insured for that. The 50 people is, I think, I'm guessing, for the ground floor. And that in order to make this work and use the first floor, they need a flooring. Is what I was
You
assuming.
do need flooring in order to be able to use it.
Yes.
Councillor Rostron?
Yeah, just to re-emphasise a couple of things. In the application, it does say, the first floor has not been used, it's fallen into a state of decay.
Yes.
And the project will return the building to use, but it will become a facility for use of all the community and not a private club in the way it was previously used.
Mm.
Secondly, we've been looking at the reserves. They have 23,600 or so, and they're actually proposing to use virtually all of that alongside our 5,000
Yeah.
to complete the project. So it'd be very difficult for them to complete the project without our contribution. I'd say yes, make the full contribution.
They also have gone to loads of other places to ask for money, which is blooming rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
They're working at it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, a proposal?
I propose that we fund it in full. I mean,
Yeah.
I think their climate statement is excellent, the work in the schools, and I would highlight that.
Okay. Oh, sorry, but did you want to speak, Councillor Osborne, or were you just
No, I
voting?
was just going to second it.
Okay, great, thank you.
That is carried.
Okay. So the next one is the first grant application since 1992 from Paris Piscatorial Society, which is brilliant. Councillor Lyles, I want to give somebody else a chance to speak, but your hand just goes up first every time. So
Well,
is there
maybe it's 'cause I'm
anybody else
interested.
wants to speak before Alex?
Well, they do put their hand up first.
And the rest of the
Okay, Councillor Lyles then.
So this fishing club, it's really hard to get in.
Oh.
So, yeah, actually, because because I used to be a fishing member at school.
Oh, do we have to get you to leave the room
No,
then?
I'm not, nothing to do with this. But the thing is that if it's only for so many people in the valley, it's not for everybody in the valley. And when we're looking at sporting equipment, we don't support sporting equipment. We don't support girls, we don't support football kits, we don't support anything like that.
This is for the pond.
This is for
big
the-
pond.
It
It's
doesn't
not
matter,
for
if it was for the football pitch, you'd say no, because it's part of the sporting
protect the
equipment.
dam wall.
We support
for the-
football clubs before. We have.
No, we don't do it anymore,
Not anymore.
no.
Okay.
So I don't think we should support it.
Well, does anybody want to speak for this?
Right, speak for it.
Yes.
I live across from that pond actually. That's not a declaration of interest. I know where the pond is. I can look at it from my front window. So I've tried to join that club and was told it's a dead man's shoe to join that club there. So it's a private members club who all pay a membership fee, who've got the lake, or got the right to the lake from Dudley Parker, who built the estates on Whittleton Gate. And therefore, so all these people are private members of that club there. So my question is, are we supporting a private members club on that one there? Certainly when I asked, I said that there was no room for me to go fishing there, and I was thrilled.
Well, this is all new information for me that wasn't evident from their application form, so hence
Sorry, I think it is. Why do you feel your project's worthwhile? It says our members, and any guests get a lot of joy.
and guess.
But you have to be a member's guest.
50
not-
members.
Yes.
50 members.
Is it 50 members?
So
It
it's a
is
member,
50 members.
if I was a member, Martin, like at Borshaw,
Councillor
I could invite
Osborne.
you.
Sorry, Councillor Lads.
It,
Councillor Osborne is the one that's raised his hand.
it says that as the owners, they have a responsibility for maintaining, the dam, which makes it a core responsibility as far as I can see. And further down, it says that they're using these trolleys that weigh more than 50 kilos to trundle stuff around,
Okay.
which suggests that the damage is possibly due
Caused
to the
by them.
behaviour of their limited set of
Okay.
members.
Very good point, very good point.
So I would suggest that it's their responsibility.
Their responsibility. Anybody wants to speak for this? Councillor Dixon.
I think it's quite a different environment, this lake.
Mm.
I do remember it as a child before they built the estate there. My uncle used to live, it was on the road above it. So I remember it before the houses, shows how old I am. So yeah, I remember seeing it then, and like I said, you used to get herons and all kinds of things visiting, all kinds of stuff like that. It's good for wildlife. But like the membership thing, are the members all from within the Home Valley? So is it benefiting the residents of the Home Valley? It's not open to everybody to join it, so it's, we've got a lot of doubts about it, and doubts about whether it actually fits our criteria.
Climate emergency is quite significant.
Well,
Biodiversity, I mean, more
That's
than
one thing about it, but there's a lot of other things that I think, I don't know if it fits our requirements and
Can I move to refuse?
We need to ask for a second.
a seconder.
Yeah,
Well, David has already done it.
2 seconds.
Okay, who wants to vote to refuse this?
Seven, yeah.
Is that carried? And to against it? And to abstain? Okay, so that's carried, rejecting it is carried. Okay, the next one, Homley Village Community Trust. This is the Kissing Grey, if you remember from the minutes of the last meeting, this was one where it was suggested, encouraged to reapply for this.
And that they have returned £1,000
They've
from
returned
the,
it.
the hay.
Hey, Bob.
Bob. Hay Bob. So we've got that £1,000 back.
Yeah, so we were very pleased that they were honest about that. They got a very good deal for the hay bog and they returned it, so they did the right thing. It's a good project. Anybody wants to speak in favour of this one? I want somebody else to do it. Councillor Stewart.
Yes, because we said they had to give the money back and they did, and
Should really go for the first
Yeah,
person
no,
to raise
no.
their hand, councillor.
It's always the same person,
Well,
isn't
no,
it? The people a chance to
Well,
speak.
they need to put their hand up.
Okay, okay. Can I encourage people to put their hand up before Joe does?
It was Damien actually first.
Sorry about that. Okay, Councillor Stewart, you've said what you wanted to say.
well, I was just going to say that we asked them to comply and give this money back, and then with the sort of implication was that we were going to then allow them to.
We didn't guarantee it.
We didn't guarantee it, but it does seem to me it's only £769. They are trying to use this in order to prevent cyclists from mowing down pedestrians who are wandering about on the grass. It seems to me, and it seems to me that it is a reasonable thing to do, and it is laudable that they are trying again, having had somebody actually going to the trouble of digging up the gate posts, that we ought to be on the side of law and order somehow on this one.
Are you happy that that's covered what you were going to say?
No,
Do you want
no.
to say something given that your hand
That's
did
amazing.
go up first?
It was actually me that wanted to speak,
Okay.
so thank you anyway. Yes, much the same as that one really there. I think that we encouraged them to reapply. We all agreed that it met the criteria when they said, can we keep the money? But we were playing by our usual rules and decided they must return the money and reapply. And I would therefore support that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything different, Councillor Whiteman?
Well, my question really is about who they're saying they're going to buy this thing from, which includes shipping costs. And I had a bit of a look, and there's a company called Jackson's who do an alternative which allows wheelchair access for 460 quid, and they can claim the VAT back, or we can claim the VAT back. So I would put that in as a suggestion.
Shipping just means delivery though, it doesn't mean it's coming.
If we
Yeah.
say we'll
Well,
approve,
whatever,
yes,
cheaper version that allows
wheelchair
wheelchair access.
access. Maybe it might not, there might be other criteria, being strong enough, etc. etc.
Just
I
a
think
suggestion.
suggesting that in the letter that we sent, it would be good.
Can we move to approve the gate and suggest the cheaper options, wheelchair accessible, and go to the next one?
Anybody to second that?
Yes.
Yeah, and then can we vote on that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is the purchase of a build design to address the leak in Magdale Dam. Anybody wants to speak for that? Councillor Bailey?
I'll put there first.
Ready.
I was going to say that.
gonna
I'm
be
going to
raised
speak against this. They've got 50k in reserves, and the purpose of that reserve is for sorry.
Is this the tech that
No, no.
No,
okay, right, that's fine.
And the purpose that they declare for that, of keeping that reserve is to ensure the safety of Magdale Dam. Now they're asking for money to ensure the safety of Magdale Dam. So I don't understand why they're asking for
Well,
this.
they're saying the amount of works they're going to need this year is £80,000 on the dam. So because
You had an extra
Councillor
letter, didn't you?
Councillor Holmes raised the point, so I contacted them and said, why have you got 50,000 in reserve? Seems an awful lot. And they said about the charity commission and the advice about it should meet your own assessed needs, and then they shared that it was going to cost 80,000 quid this year, so the reserves were going to naturally go down this year.
Does that affect how you see it, Councillor Bailey?
I don't think so, but
Because it's-
I'll listen to whatever.
What anybody else wants to say? Councillor Whitehall? And then Councillor Roscoe.
My query with this one is about exactly what it is that this design is going to be, because it doesn't say work, it says design. But design to me is not a physical activity, it's a plan. And if you're spending that sort of money, I'd be thinking, well, what's the guarantees here, what you're proposing? Or, I know it's always a bit of a vexed question, but I would prefer to send this back to them and say, we need some more clarity on this. Obviously the work needs doing, but how you've described it doesn't sell it
It's
to
not
me.
a section that you think we should support, then,
I would send it back, I would reject it and send it back to them.
Yeah, anybody else, any comments on this one? I think it was Councillor Rostron next and
Yes,
then
yes.
Councillor Bellamy.
I think £5,000 is, if you like, for the design. It puts it in detail about block nailing and false walls and things. But this is a proposal how the work's to be done. If you want to come back and ask for some support with doing the actual repair,
Yeah.
that might be the approach, and you know, not to encourage them like the last application saying you'll definitely get it, but we would be open to listen to them if they came back if there was an expensive job to do next year. They didn't provide the 80,000, so information about the 80,000, so we weren't too clear about that to begin with. And it just leaves me, final remark is, they say that these people are designing this project, but they've only four lines of details about what they're going to design. So is it going to cost 5,000 to
I
design?
think there was an additional letter, wasn't there? That
I mean,
we
it
saw.
was
Yes.
short though. It
But
wasn't,
it was short, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it wasn't clear, even with the additional information. I was still confused, even with additional. I'm trying to remember who came next. Councillor Bellamy.
Yeah, my concern with this is it's because it's to do with the design stage. To be honest, I agree with what Martin's just said. If it was for the works
Yeah.
themselves, then I would probably be really comfortable and say, yeah, fine,
Yeah.
support it. But I think for the design stage, they're going to have to
Which
do
is what I
that.
said at the beginning.
They're going to have to do that, yeah, they're going to have to do that themselves and come back. And I think that is the way to tell them.
Okay, any more comments before I go to anything that went up sooner? Councillor Blackwood, was yours up before? I don't know.
It was up before, yeah. I also feel about this application, I do think we should send it back, because towards the end, we seem to run out of steam, and their answers to the last three questions are incredibly sketchy, including the climate change one. So I think we should ask them.
Grants from elsewhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
grants from elsewhere.
Okay, so who's proposing that we reject this?
I move to refuse
Sorry,
the grant.
did I miss you? It's been said. Sorry, my apologies. Okay, and seconded. And can we vote?
let's go with it.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say, Rich, would you explain why we felt that the design part was
Yeah,
their
no,
responsibility, but help with members?
Yeah, no, I think it falls in with what was said before about not playing for football posts. You know, it's kind of in the same kind of ballpark, that it's their responsibility ultimately. We'll pay for the work, but
But to members are very expensive, and that will come out of it.
Yeah. Okay. The next one on the agenda is the Home for Tech, which I think a few people have to leave the room for. I no longer do, because I have terminated my relationship with Tech. So anybody want to speak?
This is
for
it, I
this
need a win.
proposal? Councillor Blacker.
I feel we should stop this in full. I think calling it a dance studio, it's much more than that. I mean, there are an awful lot of different activities that happen in there. I mean, the tech is a it's a major asset really for Homeford, and it does a very different job from the job that's done back here at the Civic. I know they've had a lot of money in the past, but they of course had to pay for the building, which has been constant drain really. So I think, and having been in classes in that room, it jolly well does need this work done. It's not really fit for purpose at the moment, so I would suggest that we make the granting full.
And I'd like to speak to say that this is one that they feel will secure their long-term future. For making that room lettable means that they will have less, they will become more self-sufficient. So, anyone there? Councillor Brooke?
It does say at the end of this one there that they've not applied elsewhere for any funding for this specific project. So there's been no seeking of external funding other than to the parish council. With that acknowledgement, there's acknowledgement that £25,000 has been given to them in the last 3 years, and this application was rejected the last time it appeared. It appears nothing particularly has changed other than the bit at the end which pleads with us to reconsider this grant. I I remain the same. I think they've had an awful lot of money. I think they should try getting external funding elsewhere. There are other funding streams, as can be proven by the home projects
But
there.
they
They've had a considerable amount of funding at home, and they've made that effort to do it on there. So I would like to redirect the tech to external funding before they come back with this one.
I think they have had external funding. They have sought external funding for many aspects of how they've survived. They wouldn't have survived in the last few years.
It certainly
without
haven't soft
external
on you,
funding.
I'm afraid to say, Jenny.
Okay,
And I
let's,
do acknowledge the fact you said that you've terminated your agreement with the tech, but you are speaking in support of it regardless. Thank you.
I am speaking in favour of it because I think I always felt that my support of it was only ever to secure it for the community, not as any other interest. And I think that is where this project is different to other village halls or the community centre, that they had to buy this. You know, Brockles Community Hall, Upperthorne Village Hall, they never had to buy it. The tech that, as I think as Councillor Wacker has said, supports a wide number of projects and community groups. Councillor Osborne.
I was going to say, I think this is a very well written, very detailed proposal. It clearly sets out why this is a proposal worth supporting.
I agree.
I strongly feel that we should support it.
So you propose it. Does anybody else want to speak before Councillor Nixon?
Yeah, I agree as well. It's benefiting a wide range of residents, lots of age groups, and if it helps the tech raise intake and bring more funding in themselves and make them more self-sufficient, then it's beneficial to the residents and beneficial to the tech as well.
Thank you. Councillor Rostron.
I'm looking back at the Southgate application. It's very similar to the Southgate application. They didn't apply elsewhere. We have funded them in the past. We've agreed to now to fund them in full, so I think there are strong parallels.
Yes.
And just to say, sorry, I was going to say as well, it's just this project where they've not gone for additional funding. So they are getting additional funding and other grants from other areas as well when they can do. It's just that different groups are restricted to what they can do, and I'm sure they're not sat there and just applying for us.
I think you've already spoken, so last comment from Councillor Ellerman.
I'm sure that we've funded it, fucking dance before.
Yeah,
I know we turned the last one down, but I'm going back years and years and years ago. So that's my thing, unless that was the rock room, which I'm not quite sure what the difference is.
Yeah, they're different rooms.
So that would be different.
Okay.
Right, okay.
I would
So
like
I'm
to a seconder for Councillor Osborne. Seconded. And voting for it.
Seven.
And against it. Okay, thank you. And once Kelsey can make a return, please. Right. Are we ready to consider just group? They've requested quite a lot. Again, this is one we've given quite a lot of money to recently. Anybody want to speak for this? Just who? My feeling is that they are a new group. They're doing a brilliant job, but they only opened the main one in October. So I think if they're maybe not ready to. I don't want them to grow too fast and fail. So I think even though I think they're a group that are worth supporting, I think we can delay funding them and ask them to reapply later. Is that not expressed that very well, have I? Anybody wants to speak for just who? I know Councillor Wilson actually visited this and came back and spoke very highly of it. Yes. Anybody want to speak for them? Councillor Whitelaw?
Sorry. I've been a couple of times simply because we were shifting a pool table that belonged to Catherine down to them, and there's the blah de blah. And they've put in a huge amount of work and money, their own money, to get this up and running. And it's one of those things where, from my point of view, it's a win-win-win, because it's taken in a building that was really falling apart. They put it to I know it's a particular community use, but it's very wide ranging. It's providing social space, blah, de blah, de blah. So I personally would support this one because, yeah, it ticks lots of boxes, I think.
I think it's an excellent project, but we have just given them 5,000 a very short time ago, in the same year. Does anybody want
No, it
to?
wasn't this year.
Is it a year ago? It's a year ago. They only spent it very recently, didn't they?
Mm.
Okay, Councillor Stewart.
I cannot tell you how much I hate basketball, but, and I set up on this and thought, whoa, I don't, but I've looked at it, we've had over 300 members sign up and use our facility since opening the doors in October 25. That improving health and well-being of individuals, blah, 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 it's got to be a safe space for activity, coaching, improve self-confidence, I get all that. There is a lack of quality local indoor provision for casual and organised basketball. I mean, yeah. But some people clearly want to do it. And although I find that baffling, I do see that other people like basketball and that this is a good thing to have such a great facility in our valley. So I would be willing to support it.
Thank you. Councillor Ruston.
They are being a bit vague about who they're applying for money from, but the breakdown of the costs shows Sport England, they're hoping will make a major contribution. What they're asking for us is a small proportion of what they need overall, and again, comparing that with their reserves, they have nothing. That's nothing. 4,000, which when you think of operational costs, they seem to be managing the money as well. We've broken even after our third month of operation. So I feel positive about
Anybody
it.
want to propose or anybody wants to speak against? So
I propose
you'll
we fund it in full.
Anybody to second that? Okay, and let's vote for it.
Yeah, you can
Okay. So is that all the assets?
Yeah,
How much
so
have we spent?
I've no idea. I can tell you how much is left. So there's 8,869.90 left in that budget.
8,000, how much? 8,000 and...
£869.90.
So do we now have to request that be via
Yeah, I
to the
think that's-
budget for
well,
the projects and
If
assets?
it's needed. I
If
think
it's needed,
yeah.
yeah, okay, okay. So we'll work through the projects and assets and see whether we need to buy it. Yes, okay,
Can
so
I just clarify something? Sorry, Chair. If we are short on the next bit,
yes.
are we able to come back to this and say we would reduce the amounts so that we could via more across?
I mean, you did suggest that
I
earlier.
did suggest that, yeah, I mean, but you did say we've got to look at, can we do it at the end? Can we do
Yeah, I
it
mean,
at the end?
I would suggest you needed to look at assets.
Separately.
Yeah, it's two separate pots of money, so I'm not sure
Okay,
you can be adjusting.
Okay, well, let's see whether we need to when we work through it, and then I think that would be a reasonable thing to do if we need it.
Yes.
Okay, if we're allowed.
As
a black hand.
I just feel strongly that there are at the moment anyway 2 pots of money, and one is for assets and one is for projects, and I feel we should not be thinking about coming back and cutting back on the asset on what we've allocated to assets. But if we're underspent, which we are, then
Then
we
maybe
can
weigh
then
back what
identify
you've
that.
You've kind of made a decision on all of those already. You have said what you are giving to those more, so I don't think you can go back and do it.
Okay, okay, well, let's work through these and see. Councillor Osborne.
I was wondering if it would speed up the process if we considered at this point on the projects requests to start off with a principle of an across the board reduction of a 1,500 request to 1,000, and then on a case by case basis decide if that
And then we could go
needs
back
to
and
go
top
back
it
up
up if we've still got somebody left at the end.
Well, I'd have made that
No, this is just within, you didn't misunderstood, this is just within the project.
just within
and
projects.
events.
Not going back to assets, just projects.
We're not going back. Don't worry,
But
you're
if,
not very
but
bad
if you
now.
make a decision, you've made a decision. You can't go back and say we're going to give them an extra two. You know,
We can, if we
two-
vote on it, we
No,
can.
Can
you
if we're doing
can't. In
it.
6 months' time you can make a change, but not on the same meeting.
Absolutely.
No, come on, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Can I
You make a decision, you make a decision.
Well, do we want to approve them, first of all, go through them all, and to say whether we approve it, and then go back and do the amounts when we know how many we've got?
That is possible.
That's
Okay.
possible. Okay, so we'll do it that way. So basically, as we're working through these, we're just saying, do we think it meets the criteria
Mhm.
and our priorities?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back and see how much money, how many we've got and how much they're asking for at the end. Okay, this is a marathon, so let's get on with it. Okay, the first one, Holmfirth Musical Festival. Councillor Bailey,
I'd like to move that we approve it.
thank
It,
you.
it was a great event last year. It ticks all the boxes. I think it's great and we should support it.
Okay, anybody second it? Yeah. Approve it, vote for it? Anybody against? So that's approved.
Do you mind giving me like 2 minutes so I can sort this spreadsheet out? So I can move the money out so I can tell whether how much we've got.
Hooray.
It's in 2 separate columns at the moment, so just give me 2 minutes.
Give you 2
You
minutes.
see,
We'll give you 2 minutes to have
We-
it approved.
we've got
Chair, I think
£8,000.
we also missed a bit, item A under this item, which is
Oh yeah,
considered
but that's true, yeah.
Sorry,
Fair point.
sorry, what I missed out.
whether the application group we should consider. the
Oh yes,
application
thank
of
you.
the
Yes, you're right, yeah.
Conservation group.
That came in late because it got sent to the wrong email address. So it is on the very last one to be considered. Do we want to consider it as the final application? Because it would have gone in time if it had gone to the correct email address. Councillor Dixon?
I think we should do it a bit harsh. not to.
Yeah,
Yes,
really hard.
okay, and so we will consider that. Thank you for reminding me of that. Have I missed
Well,
anything
you
else?
need to vote on it.
We need to vote on it, sorry. We vote to consider it. Thank you. Yes. Okay, have I missed anything out? Are we now ready to, we've done Holmfirth Musical Festival. Do you still need a bit more time?
I mean, it's like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is for the Holmfirth Book Festival. Anybody want to speak for this one? I think Councillor Becker's hand went up slightly before yours.
Absolutely excellent application, I
Yes.
suggest we support it.
Second that.
Seconded, can we vote for it? Great. Next one is the Holmfirth Arts Festival. Okay, oh, I should leave the room for this. Do you want me to leave the room for this?
Yeah.
Yes. Right, okay. So who takes over chairing then?
Well, does somebody wants, I think before you go, you probably need to take a vote on who stands in for you, like you did when you became chair.
Okay, who wants,
Sit back.
who wants to propose somebody to take the chair whilst I leave the room?
Go on.
Do you want to do it?
Process.
Yeah, you're
Seconded,
first.
voted for, seconded.
Because you're the best person to do it.
Yeah, you're the best person to do it.
I just so happen to sit there.
Well done, Alice.
Can I just go through this one?
Yeah. Can I just make a point about this application? That they have had a rolling grant this year already of £1,500. It was paid for them earlier this year, so they're kind of applying twice in 1 year for a rolling grant of £1,500. Now, there's nothing to stop them having 2 grants, but I'm just making the point they have already had 1,500.
Are they just getting ahead of themselves because the festival's coming up?
Exactly.
in the summer?
Yeah.
So it is a year part of the time it works.
Yes, but they are nevertheless getting 2 grants of £1,500 in 1 year,
So,
just so you're aware.
can we be clear about what's going on here? Because what they talk about is this is part one of a 3-year request.
Yes.
And we can't guarantee that.
No.
So all we can say is it can have £1,500.
Yeah.
End of chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wonder if we could consider this last if it's on a second grant of £1,500. I'm not saying that they don't get anything. What I'm saying is, if they're on their second time round, and there's people in this room that have not had one grant, I don't feel it's fair that it's heard at the beginning when we don't know where the budget's going to be at the end. So I'm asking, if you approve something, can you put it at the end of the approval, depending on what the rest of the grants are looking like, for fairness?
Does that make sense? Is that
Yeah,
a reasonable thing to do?
I agree with that.
Yes.
Okay, do we need a show of hands for that though? Put it to the end of the agenda.
I'm not saying no, I'm just saying at the end, because it's the second application in the rolling year instead of everybody else who's only doing one.
Okay.
Right.
Right, is that what they
She'll have to go out again,
and then go
out again.
No, she'll have to go out again at the end.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
ask them later, yeah.
I'm not saying no, I'm just saying it's not fair, is it, to everybody else? Squash it.
We better tell you,
It's getting easier.
we put this at the end of the agenda, so you have to write again. Oh, right, okay, that's as far as it goes. Okay, right.
It's confusing.
This is the extra one, isn't it?
Okay, which one are we up to? Is the River Hub Connections? River Hub Connections, anybody, just Damien leaving the room for this one?
Well, yeah.
It's okay, anybody want to speak on behalf of this, Councillor Bailey?
Not on behalf of it, I'd like to speak against it. I think it's a nice little project that they're doing here, but I think they've got plenty of money there to fund this small amount, and I don't see why they're coming to us.
Any other?
The thing that struck me about this application was that it's all staffing costs.
Are they going to print
And
something as well?
they employ somebody.
Yeah. We're not supposed to pay staffing costs in grants, so I move to refuse. Well done, Sarah.
Yeah, it's staffing costs. Councillor Ryder?
I would like them to have the grant application. I don't know whether I should be saying it or not, because I have volunteered with them.
In the past?
In the past. And they are a brilliant
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're not denying that. It's just
and if
against
you
the
can
rules.
just let me finish.
Sorry.
They don't have as much money as they used to have. They have been cut, their funds have been cut back fairly recently. And I think, I personally, I think, a nature-themed guiding walks would be lovely.
Councillor Lyons?
It's against the rules to pay staffing costs in grants.
No, it isn't.
It's not against the
It's
rules.
not.
But it's frowned upon, it's not something that it's not something that we normally pay for. They have enough money. Why are we paying for them to walk someone through Own Valley, explaining
If it
about?
was something different.
When they look at their reserves though, they do, what they've got restricted and designated and contingently funded adds up to the whole amount being used. So, Councillor Whitelaw?
My query about staffing costs is that they already employ somebody who is being paid for.
It doesn't actually say, it says advertising and running these events are a way of marketing the
And then
charity.
you look at the details.
Yeah, it's all down the bottom, it's broken down.
Staff time.
Councillor Dixon?
In theory, I'm not against paying for staffing costs, because with all
Me now.
with all applications, we are paying someone's wages or someone's costs for fitting fire doors, people who make the fire alarms, people who sell the fire alarms to the people, all that kind of stuff.
That's assets.
No, but the people who are fitting the fire alarms or fitting the fire doors, we're paying their wages from them, aren't we, for them to do that? We're paying for their costs. So, like, in a way, you are paying for staff, but no whatever way you do it, so at some point, it's just that it's actually broken down as that.
But this is different because they are employing, this organisation is employing somebody. They are paying staffing costs already. They're not buying in, they're there already.
But would the staff be doing this, if we didn't have this money? We wouldn't be doing it. So it's additional, it's for the project, isn't it? We're paying for the project.
I think I agree with Jane actually, that I think what they're doing is they're struggling for money.
Mm.
They're struggling for money,
Undoubtedly.
and they've only got 1 or 2 paid employees.
Yeah.
And they can't do
All the things they want to do because they haven't got sufficient funds to pay everybody else.
It's
to do it.
horrible.
They don't say they're going to employ somebody.
Councillor Bailey just wanted to speak, so.
I was just going to say, you know, then they shouldn't do all of the total range of projects that they want to do. You cut your cloth.
Okay, councillor Lyons,
I move to refuse.
anybody second that? You do. All those who vote to refuse it? All those, all those who vote to support it? Oh,
It's just
and vote to abstain?
Fine.
What one then?
Well, you're casting votes, so you win, it's fine.
Oh my goodness.
You don't need to use your casting.
You don't need to vote, so we're four in favour and 3 against.
No, it's part.
So it's
it's-
part. So,
Okay.
It's not the abstention side of it.
I was thinking. Has he got it?
yeah.
Yeah. Really got it. Thank you. Right, okay, yeah.
Shall we get dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, very good.
And this is home for full scheme,
Also forward is the next one, which is for another festival, which was very successful last year. Anybody want to speak for this one?
Which one are we doing?
Home First Forward, the
Over
Pride.
forward, the Pride Festival. Councillor Bailey?
You're right, it was a success. You know, we know they pulled it together at very short notice on a shoestring. Did brilliantly last year. Trying it again this year. It's good for a whole load of reasons. It's not just for the town, you know, for the cause, for everything else. And the cost, you know, they're asking for a contribution from us towards that total cost. Is it 5,000, I think, you know, and a raising the other money from elsewhere, businesses, etc. I think we should play our part in it.
Anybody else want to speak for this? Councillor Whitelaw?
No, just somebody else.
Councillor
I was just
Morgan?
going to ask, you know, is the business association involved with this as well?
No.
No.
Well,
Yes.
If not, why not, is what I'm asking.
how would I know? Because
No,
sorry, I'm not being
on the form.
facetious
No,
here.
it's not
And
on the
one
form.
of my question actually was going to be that this is an application from Home First Forward, but I'm reading into it that they are the bankers. They are not the people managing the project.
Right, okay.
So who the people are managing the project, I'm not sure. But they did it last year. It was a group of people from, some of them were in Home Firth business together, some of them are Make It Our Home Firth, you know, all sorts of folk, basically.
Thank you. Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, I went to the event last year on the Sunday. I think a lot of the businesses in Hemsworth were getting together to do things and have different events as well, a lot of things around it, for fringe events, the rainbows up, the bunting up and stuff like that. It was a good atmosphere around town and it was good for business because there was that many people in there in town.
Yeah.
On the Saturday night, I didn't go out on Saturday, my missus did, and she said that the bars around Hemsworth were busier and the weather was shocking if I remember rightly. It absolutely poured it down that weekend. But people still came out to it and had a really good time and it's good for the local businesses and good for the community. Like Warren says, there's so many reasons why we should support this and after the horrible attack last year at the old bridge, we should definitely be supporting more of this to kind of change people's minds as well.
Yeah. Anything
Yeah.
additional, Councillor Ryder?
Yeah, just to say that I think that the business community were very much
Absolutely, they were last year.
involved,
That's
and
right.
as you were saying,
And I think
it's
all the
those
festivals
reasons.
had to be beneficial for the town in many, many ways for economic reasons, etc. So we're going to, who wants to propose that we go for this?
Can I speak on this one? I'm just a little bit concerned about the funding stream. If that's the bank and we don't know who's organising this, and I'm aware that the businesses actually put some finances towards this, they paid for bunting and they set up events on their own back and that one there. So the funding stream's a bit dog-legged on this one. I can't really see straightforward to who the applicant is. I think it was Hillary from Bluebird Bakery, was it? What she did last time?
Well, Hillary was certainly one of the people involved.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because of the funding stream, they are the bank. That suggests,
Well, I think because it's come through from Home First forward, it is slightly different this year. You know, that they, am I right, that I'm
My
not certain.
assumption is that they are simply acting as the bankers.
Absolutely, yes, so I
Well,
think.
they are the name on the application, so
The
it's,
name on the
it's
application.
irrelevant.
Yeah,
rather
we
than-
should only go by the name of the application, shouldn't we, really? That's what we said, Home First Forward, put the grant application in for this event, so that's who we should look at, giving this funding to Home First Forward.
But they're not the organisers apparently.
Well, we don't, well, they're putting their name on the grant, so we don't know for certain. They could be organising it, we don't know.
Anybody else want to give any more information, knows more about this? Councillor Whitelaw?
I would go for funding it and say, we're doing this on trust, on the back of what happened last year, and it's such a good project, and it, you know, tick, 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 tick. So I think there's a trust element here. Yes, we can.
Second it, yes, and so shall we vote for it?
Eight?
Ten.
Oh, right. I can
Anybody
see more.
against?
Can put your hands up and keep them up for 4 bit, please.
Eleven, in fact. I've got 11, that's all.
1, 2, 3, 4.
6, 7, 8. Oh, no, 10, sorry.
Five, 6, 7, 8.
10, yeah.
Thank you.
And against? Abstentions? Okay. Right, so the next
Chair.
one is home, sorry.
So I might have fallen asleep during this bit, but haven't we missed one, the Home First Arts Festival, which was D on the list?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Or it's the Arts
Yeah.
Festival
Yeah.
rather than the Book
Yeah.
Festival being lumped to the end.
Yeah.
That's what I've missed, yeah.
Okay, so the next one is Home for Food and Drink Festival. I thought we'd done this as a running grant, but have we got to, has the running grant run out?
No, we've never done it as a involvement. We refused it several
It's a
times. No, we refused them as a grant application because they kept giving them money, kept giving money to charities, and we kept advising them that they needed to maintain their reserves
Yes.
because it kept raining and they kept cleaning up for more
Yes,
money.
I know,
So
yes,
from the application, they've learnt
yes.
what they need to do.
Okay, anybody want to speak for Food and Drink Festival? Councillor
Yeah,
Whitelaw?
I'd like to propose that we give them the 1,500 quid.
And
It's supporting the business community by default, brings people in, tourism, ticks lots of boxes, etc., etc.
anybody want to second it? Or-
We're not approving amounts yet, though, are we? No.
Yeah,
So
second it,
Yeah, I'm second.
to vote for it, sorry,
Can we speak
Councillor.
on
Sorry,
that?
I was querying.
Oh, sorry, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, I'm
Sorry,
just
Richard,
trying to watch
thank
the
you.
time, I
I really
apologise.
appreciate it, thank you very much. Yeah, my question would be, what's changed from other years where they've managed to make enough money to give a donation away? So I would imagine the prediction would be that the same amount of people would visit and the same amount of money were gained. Why is it this year there's apparently a deficit which requires another application from ourselves?
Well, they held the money in reserve in case of bad weather, etc. You know, so they did respond to our criticism that they shouldn't be giving money away. So they haven't given money away since.
They've answered that in the
Yeah, they
blurb.
do.
It says, we're finding it more and more challenging each year. We rely heavily on sponsorship but lost our major sponsor, Magic Rock, last year at short notice. Following a lot of effort from the small management group, we just about managed to break even at the 2025 festival. At the time of writing, we don't have a sponsor for this year's festival either, so finances will be stretched once again. So they have made a profit like 2 years ago, but not last year, and probably not this year either. But as it currently stands, we're facing a budget shortfall of 6,300.
To be clear, I'm not
Why are
actually
they
speaking
auditing
against.
this anyway? Where are they actually going to have this?
What do you mean? Home First.
Yeah, where?
Oh, they're very, very optimistic. They said they
Yeah,
could use
yeah,
our
yes.
space. So.
And you of course, I think that crowd
I just have a query, so I may have missed something. Under budget plan, it says see budget. It's,
Yeah, you would have,
Yeah,
Councillor Holmes would have seen that.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
yes, I did, but that, I don't know why it doesn't come forward to here, though, does it? Usually
No,
does.
no, No, they only get the application, you see all the financial stuff.
Yeah, and there was nothing that concerned me in all the financial information.
No, I think the whole point about them was, for some reason, when, you know, the first few years, they didn't seem to realise that they thought that if they made a surplus, they couldn't keep it, they had to give it away. That's not what a surplus is for. You protect your own organisation. I think that's what they've learned, particularly in the context of an organisation that's dependent on the weather. I think they've realised finally that they need to maintain.
And they did, they learned from that. It's the first one they gave away to the
Yeah.
food bank, which is admirable, but then they came back asking for more money.
And can I also
Just hang on one moment, because Councillor Whitelaw's got her hand up first.
If I've remembered correctly, the majority of this money is to pay for car parking at Sands,
and toilet hire?
which is, you know, it's a cost that you can't, you know,
Yeah.
they need it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, okay. Councillor Stewart?
If you remember, last year, or it might be in the year before, John Ford complained bitterly after the food festival that the toilets, the Gartside building toilets, were inadequate for the number of visitors, and that this therefore resulted in a whole load of horrible things we're not going to talk about now, but were seriously unpleasant that he had to deal with. And he said that he wanted the food festival in future to hire toilets so that that didn't happen again. Additional toilets, and that's what they're doing. So I think we have to take that on board, that they are doing that this
And
time.
those additional toilets were maintained by John Ford and his wife.
Yeah.
Others, so.
So
Any further comments? Councillor Blackwell?
I was just going to propose that we support them.
Anybody second it? Second it. Can we vote in favour of it?
Yep.
Okay. The next one is the Easter Bunny Party?
Yeah.
Easter Bunny Party? Anybody want to speak for the Easter Bunnies? Anybody want to propose that we support the Easter
Well,
Bunnies?
you can't not support the Easter Bunny, can you?
Well, is there anybody here who wants to speak against the Easter Bunny? Okay, so have we got a proposer and a seconder for the Easter Bunny?
I'll propose.
You'll propose it and
I'll second
Osborne is seconding it. Can we take a vote on that, please? Easter Bunnies? Easily approved, thank you.
Easter chickens might have a rare.
The next one is Homley Village Community, it's Home Village Residents Association for the 75th anniversary, which is the one that Mary Walker spoke about at the beginning of the meeting.
And this is me in the same situation as last time. I'm not a member, but I go because I'm.
Does
Okay.
anybody, I'm quite happy for Councillor Whitlock, does anybody want Councillor Whitlock to leave the room? She can stay.
I think rock on swap.
Thank you. Does anybody want to speak in favour of this project or against it? Wants anyone to say anything about it? Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, we should be very proud that we're part of the Peak District and very supportive of this event, celebrating the 75th anniversary of it, the first national park. And I don't think there's people within the valley who won't know that we are part of the Peak District. So it's something that we should shout about and be proud of.
Yeah, I agree. Councillor Bailey?
No, I'm just going
You want to agree with that?
Yeah.
Councillor Lyles?
I agree that it's a good idea. I'm just worried about the limited number of people that it would benefit.
They are coming
But
here
they're
though.
coming
Here
here.
as well.
It's
Was it 2 days? That performance is here and we can host 300 people at a time downstairs here. So,
She just was speaking about stage one, which was 50 people, and then.
no, she spoke, she did say the second one, so.
It says here on the form in the
Yeah,
table that
it
it says it mentions the higher of City Hall cost
Yeah.
going to part of it, so it is part of it having the event down here as well.
Yeah, I can see all that in the costs, but she said it would be stage one and then
Stage
Stage
1
two.
is 50%, yeah, and then stage 2
But-
was here.
It's
So-
that's just her own project. It's two parts of the same thing. It says here that amount requested from the parish council, 150 quid for the hire of Civic Hall server.
Okay?
It's just a two-stage of that.
yeah, but the way she explained it, it sounded like it was only 50 people in the first
I think she's
instance.
got
and
3
then-
minutes,
It is
isn't
in
it,
the
to
first
cross?
instance,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
it's the second stage.
Councillor Rashford.
So I'm spending an evening confused, I know, but I'm looking at the costing. What does tickets mean in the costing? This is hire of Civic Hall, cost 150. Where will the funding come from? Tickets.
Yeah, the ticket sale.
People
Ticket
pay
sales.
to come
Yeah,
in.
but then the amount requested from the parish council is 150.
No, it's a bit
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
You're not set out
That is
right.
one of the
Well,
alterations
it's
we've
then.
made
Yeah.
to the new application form to let us know if they expect to get income from tickets. So I think it's a useful thing to know whether there will be some income and to know what people will do with that income.
So are we thinking, I know we're not setting sums now, but we're thinking that we may offer 1,500, but we may not use it all because they actually get income in
They might
themselves
have
to
some
defray the
surplus
costs.
that they might want to return to us. Okay? Maybe. Can we vote for this one? Anybody want to propose it?
Yes.
Yes, and seconded, yes. Voting for it? Anybody against it? Yes.
Not too quick.
No,
You're okay, anybody against? No, okay. Okay, the next one is Holly Show Agricultural Society. Because of the trouble with sponsorship, we've had to ask them to apply for a grant as opposed to sponsoring their programme, which is what we've done for the last few years. My request would be that I hope they can still promote the parish council in the programme, even though it's a grant rather than sponsorship. Anybody want to speak or say anything on this?
Can I just ask how much we were given the same amount we can't
Yeah.
use?
Yeah,
Well,
it's so.
well, it was, I think 1,500 last year and 1,000 the year before.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, so we're agreeing to that one.
Well,
It's
you-
what,
you-
sorry,
You,
think-
you
I
wanted
think
to
we've
speak,
got to comment.
oh,
Councillor
sorry,
Reserves held, is that right?
yeah,
Brooke? A lot,
yeah.
yes.
It's massive.
222,050
What it's been, when we've sponsored it in the past, we've been considering it as advertisement
Yeah.
for the,
Yeah.
letting people know about the parish council, instead of paying for it to go in the hub or whatever. This is,
How does this fit in with your grants working group
With reserves.
with giving to reserves? And how does that fit in with that one there?
yeah,
Because it is otherwise sponsorship by the back door, isn't it?
That's what it is.
councillor Rashford.
That's what we're
Well,
trying to do.
I was one of the, just feedback on the event last year, I was one of the volunteers who sat in our tent. I spoke to next to nobody while I was actually sitting there. I have to say, in all honesty,
I spoke to loads.
Yeah.
well,
I was there, but I did speak
Councillor
to
Lads.
the
I didn't agree with us sponsoring a paper programme. That situation has not changed. They promised they would digitise it and they have failed to do so properly. I don't think that it fits the criteria. I think it is backdoor sponsorship and I think it's wrong and I think we should refuse it.
Okay, anybody else want to speak either for or against it? Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, I was just going to say that they've actually spent more than they did on the income last year, and they do give reasons for their reserves to hold the future events, cash flow, protecting against cancelled shows having a negative impact on the show's trading ability. I think it's a good event, and I've been there before. It's been well attended by the local community and people from further away as well. It brings people into the area. It's a good event, and it's something that we can good to
Councillor
support.
Blacker?
I would say it's not just a good event, I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
it's the major local event really, isn't it, in
Yeah.
the calendar, and I feel that Parish Council should be associated with it in some way, which is, within the rules that what we're allowed to do.
Just wish it were now. Councillor Whitelaw?
I'm torn between two opposed on this one, because whilst I absolutely agree with what Mary's just said, I also agree with what Jo said about paper. But then on the other hand, for those people who are not, in their words, digitally savvy, a physical paper thing, we're not yet at a point, I don't think, where everybody, and I mean everybody, accesses things through social media or internet or web. You know.
And it's an
People
advertisement
do
for the
rely
parish
on
council
paper.
that reaches
So
out to a
I am
very
really
large
torn
number.
between two posts on this one. I think perhaps I would prefer that we gave them money to support it in another way.
Councillor Brooke, have you already spoken? I'm just noticing the time, so unless it's anything new that you want to
I'm
add.
just with you, I'm not saying I'm not in support of the Honley show, it's a good thing for the community, but it doesn't fit the criteria. It does not fit the criteria.
Does it, Rich?
Yeah, well, I mean, the grant criteria is flexible enough to, you know, because Gens confer this general power of competence on the parish council, we can virtually do we can do anything that an individual person can. So you can approve anything like that. It's, you know, against rules is, there's no rule. It's not a rule. It's just what you think are the priorities of the parish council.
Can I
So
suggest
whether it's value for money and
Can
money well spent is one of our criteria.
Can I suggest you hire a pitch then and promote the parish council
Well, that
Well,
is what we will do as well.
We would do that.
instead of
As
paying
well
for a
as.
grant? No,
That's
no, my view was instead of that, because you are just changing the sponsorship rules to a grant rule, and that is very grey in my view. Be warned, it's grey.
It's not grey.
It is grey.
It's not grey because we've got the general power of competence.
It does fit, it fits with promoting festivals and tourism. It fits with encouraging social interaction by the provision of activities and events, this is a massive event, and protecting local heritage, the physical environment and cultural heritage. And surely Honley Show is part of our cultural heritage. You know, people go there year after year after year, and it's massively a cultural heritage. It doesn't fit every single one of them, it's true.
It's back to our marketing.
You need
It's back to
to-
our marketing, it's the same thing
I
we
do
have
need
for
to accept
marketing.
it has.
Without the marketing, we're giving them the same thing for a different reason.
Can
We're making it fit.
Councillor Brooke, but we've got to 9 o'clock, and can I ask for us to extend it to complete the business of the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's try and
Against
move a little
that,
bit
by the
quickly. Councillor Whitelaw?
I think you need to take a proper vote on that.
Oh, right, okay. Extending the meeting, who approves of extending the meeting? Okay. Against? Okay. Let's try and move quickly. I knew it was a massive agenda. Okay, so can we make a decision on Honley Show? Okay,
Sorry.
Councillor Whitelaw.
Well, whilst I agree with everything that
I said, yeah.
Councillor Stewart just said, this is a bid. I mean, this is a grant application for printing programmes. It's not about supporting the show per se.
Surely the programme supports the show.
Yeah.
The programme is about the show
Per se,
per se.
important.
Okay. Only two more comments from Councillor Dixon and Councillor Rostron, and then we take a vote on it. Councillor Dixon.
It's also for the cost of the countryside tent as well, which is,
Well, we will have a stall.
it is £2,304 for the countryside tent and the social media aspect of things. So rather than saying that we're going to provide all the money towards the printing costs, should we say that we're happy to sponsor the, not sponsor, but pay for the countryside tent and social media instead?
That seems a good suggestion to me. Councillor Rostron?
I was going to say, let's just move on, vote for it, because we're nitpicking. We said we can't give you the grant, we can't give you a sponsorship, so please apply for a grant.
Yes.
And they've got umpteen things they could have applied for a grant for, but they just
Yeah.
happened to apply for the same thing we were giving them money for before.
Yeah.
So
So,
just
apply
when you
for
write
the
back to them,
tent.
say, remember next year, ask for money for something else that is closer to the criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can we take a vote on it? Those in
Yeah.
favour? Those against? Okay, thank you.
Abstentions?
Abstentions? 2. Okay, on to the next one. Communities United Man Alive project. Who wants to speak either for or against this project? Councillor Bailey?
I'd just like to speak against it. And again, I like the project. I don't understand why they need funding for it. You know, it could be self-funding, as far as I'm concerned.
Anybody else want to speak on behalf? Councillor Whitelaw?
This was one of the examples where I'm thinking you've got Andy's Man Club, you've got, you know, a number of things that are focused on male well-being and mental health, but it would have been a perfect connection.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's by the by really.
Yeah, okay. And I, yes, sorry, Councillor Riley.
Yeah, I can't claim to know a lot about it, but just having, you know, a men's mental health project seems like a very good, a very good project for us to give some money to. But there's all sorts of things they could do with that money. I don't know what they've said. I can't remember what they've actually said.
They want to go to a stand-up comedy show.
Yeah, it is outings and, you know, it's positive things.
Outings,
You know, it's a
yeah,
noble project,
outings.
but is it could be self-funding. Councillor Lyles?
I run a coffee and cake on a Wednesday. You're more than welcome to come, Sarah, if you're bored. Right, and basically, a lady came from Kirklees to Elmfirth Market last Tuesday, a lovely lady. She works for Kirklees. She gave me a list of the mental health clubs in the Home Firth and Slough and Meltham, and there is loads, absolutely loads. There must be at least 10. In fact, the only thing there isn't is ones for women.
There is.
Oh,
There are.
Still there.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Blackburn.
I think this is a really good project, and I think we should support it. And I think it matters if there are two. Maybe there's enough demand for two and two projects. I mean, yes, okay, if the problem about something's being self-funding is it tends to exclude certain people. If you're keeping costs down, then you are going to need additional funding from somewhere else. I think it's excellent.
So are you proposing that we
I'm
fund this one?
proposing that we leave it in which is all we're doing at the moment.
I'll second that.
Okay, and approving it, and then we'll decide on the amount of money soon. Okay, right,
You take against.
against,
Abstention?
the next one is the Hull Valley Climate Action Partnership. They're going to promote local produce at all the various festivals throughout the summer, so and alongside edible gardens. So, Councillor Osborne.
I think Councillor Boscombe was
No,
first.
after you.
I'm all in favour of a vegetarian food event, but it does rankle slightly with me. It feels as if we're providing two grants to the Food and Drink Festival.
Oh, but this isn't just the Food and Drink Festival. They're going to work alongside edibles, you know, the edible green thing, the garden thing that's in Home Firth. So they're going to be working with them, and they're going to have a stall at several festivals. The Folk Festival will both display at the Edibles Garden, monthly menus to promote local producers, albeit edible gardens, and then the Folk Festival, possibly the Arts Festival, and the Food and Drink Festival. So it is, you know, it's more, as many of the festivals as they can get a stall at, they'll be at. And they'll be, over the summer, they'll be at the,
Yeah, sorry, that's probably my fault.
yeah, and they'll be at the edible gardens. They've got a display board and things where people donate their excess produce, etc. Councillor Bailey?
Maybe misunderstanding. Is this money for paid staff?
They haven't got any paid staff.
Well, why is
They're one
it
paid staff.
How we're trying to work that out.
£15 per hour and so on for food preparation? I don't understand what that's paying for. I mean, it's the same attendance.
Planning, research, signage, ingredients, and then preparation of monthly recipes. Food preparation, 8 hours. Then I will be paying somebody to do that, £15 per hour. That's, yeah.
Maybe it's time for vegetarian specialist at the
Yeah. I mean, we could miss that bit out. That bit's for £120, so we can, you know, if you
Well, it'll be the same for the attendance as well, which is
yes.
also.
So we can say I mean, that just surprised me because they haven't, well, they're paying somebody specifically to do that because they've lost their one paid member of staff as an organisation. I don't know. Anybody know any more about this?
I think that personally, I don't like the grant. I think we're already paying for the food festival. I think that there is, you know,
We're hardly paying for the food festival.
we're donating to
contributing a
the
small
we're
amount.
donating to the food festival, and I don't think it's appropriate. That's my personal view.
Councillor Dixon?
It's the Herne Valley Climate Action Partnership that's applying for the grant, it's not the food festival. It just happens that they're installed there, but they're also having one at the Work Festival. So it's just that they are wanting to attend events where there's going to be a lot of people there and educating about vegetarian food and things like that.
And local produce.
Yeah, which I don't think it's a bad thing really. I think that if we've got a problem with the wages, then we could just give them money for the first 3 parts.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak, or shall we say that, take a vote on whether to move forward?
Propose it.
Propose it and second it and vote for it. Against it? Abstentions? Passed. Okay, and we can decide how much, hopefully quite soon. The next one is the Cafe 100. I think you've got something to read out
I've got quite a long thing to read out.
Okay.
So this is from Liam Root, who what's his official title?
Trustee. He's the chair.
Chair of Trustees. So he's saying, I would very much like to speak on behalf of Cafe 100 in the future. Below is my statement of purpose. Cafe 100 has been providing support, safety and connection to young people in the Home Valley for over 20 years. It is a familiar and respected part of our community, offering support for young people aged 11 to 17 from all backgrounds and support need. The Home Valley is a diverse area with young people of all backgrounds needing additional support. Cafe 100 provides a warm, welcoming and friendly environment for people to build social skills and interact with others. This helps to prevent social isolation and separation from communities, encouraging integration, engagement and the development of practical skills which will benefit the young people and the communities they reside in. As much as Cafe 100 does not specifically support young people from lower income backgrounds or people who may have neurodiversities, as a group it is often more approachable to young people who may experience additional difficulties. Cafe 100 offers a place to feel comfortable to form relationships with people, to feel part of a community that does not discriminate or require a financial commitment. Sorry, this is rolling on. This has been a core value of the organisation since I can remember, and we hope to continue to offer this refuge, safety and opportunity for years to come. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we have recently had to move premises. This was due to the inappropriateness of the prior building and its continued structural decline. As a charitable organisation, we have tried to make changes where possible, having Tyler, our youth leader, in a secure role alongside support from Kirklees Youth Action has been a great benefit. Her commitment to role and support are amazing. Her passion is visible and unmatched. We are conscious as an organisation that changes need to be made to secure our financial situation and strive to build the security needed. We believe Cafe 100 is not just an asset to the local community, but a necessity, providing young people with the social skills and development needed to be a successful and integrated member of the whole Home Valley community in the future. We ask for your financial support to secure the continuity of the project until we are able to provide our own financial stability in the near future. I am sorry I am unable to be available in person to relay this message. I hope you can see the passion and belief I have for the project and agree with my insistence on its necessity.
Anything to add to that? Councillor Ryder?
Yeah, they have gone through some difficult times finding a new base because, as it says there, they had to move from the church to somewhere else. And again, these are young people from there's probably a large number of them deprived backgrounds and have additional needs. Tyler, who runs it, is brilliant. She's great, and she has a really good rapport with those young people as well. So I would definitely recommend it.
Okay, Councillor Osborne.
I'll propose that we approve it.
Propose it.
Seconded.
Take a vote on that. Approving it.
Yep, okay.
Any abstentions on or against?
Abstain.
And that's passed. So the toilet, Sarah back in, and then the next one is the Hepworth Hurricanes walking netball. Anybody want to speak for walking netball?
I will say the same thing that I said earlier about the Man Alive group. This could be self-funding.
Okay, anybody else want to speak for it? Councillor Rossborough?
I'd just like to observe that they haven't applied for Exwell Square. A large proportion it is actually for sporting equipment, and it's one of the things we don't use by sporting equipment.
Yes,
I think, well,
but it's for training, it's different, isn't it?
it's different because it's a health aid in this situation, isn't it? We tended to support the provision of equipment if it's
It's team kit, bits,
Yes, I
cones,
definitely think they could do with
and I
that.
can remember we
Good
turned
kit.
that down for a choir when they asked for
Yes.
just the choir.
but that was for the full band. This is for people who are doing it not to play. You know, the primary goal is fitness. I think it's for people who are sort of shut out from keeping fit.
Anybody else want to speak for it? Councillor
I
Ryan?
could be one of them 30 women that are over 50, but
I'm a netball fan, so maybe
You can stay in the room, it's all right.
Oh, no, it's okay. And it looks as if these are women who are maybe not that fit if they're doing walking netball. So, why not? We're giving money to a whole range of different groups. Why not middle-aged women, elderly women as well playing netball? Why not?
Anybody else want to speak for it or against it? Councillor Stewart?
Yeah, I would be in favour of it. I hate netball even more than I hate basketball. But netball embraces and promotes physical, mental and social well-being. I would beg to differ on that, but clearly these people are enthusiastic. And the people who they are aiming this at are people who are but female, much less likely to take part in sport, and needing support in developing self-confidence and supporting their positive mental health and well-being. So yes, and I don't think we can say it should be self-funding because not everybody can afford it.
Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, it makes it affordable, doesn't it?
Yes.
For people. So it doesn't seem like it's competitive, like club where they're playing against other teams. It's just sessions that they have with their own members for them to go along and play. And I've never heard of walking netball until I heard about this. I know about walking football, and I know some people I used to play football with who've gone into playing walking football when they're, due to injuries or they're getting on a bit. So I think it's good to support this. It's good. It's for women. It's people of a certain age, and I think it would be good for them. So yeah.
So are you ready to propose it, or do we want any
Why
more
not?
comments?
Yes. Yeah, I'll propose it.
Propose it and second it, and then can we vote on it, please? Yeah. This is one maybe we'll give them slightly less if we don't want the big spot, but against?
Yes.
Yeah, and the bits are like reds and whites, weren't they? So they can do that.
Okay, the next one is the Yorkshire Neon Makers, a free programme of Neon Makers Workshop. Who wants to speak for or against this? I thought you would say the same thing about this.
Well, I was going to say, they're asking us to fund.
Repeat yourself.
They're asking. Well, we did look at this one, of course, previously, didn't we? It's come back. Yes, I think there was that, and they're asking us to fund a community workshop. I will say it should be self-funding. Most people in here will say we should throw money at it.
No.
and we allow some business.
It's business. Well, anybody wants to speak?
I move to refuse because it's a business. It's like advertising during a workshop group. I could teach you all to book holidays if you wanted, but it'd still be for business. So therefore it would not be a community workshop, it would be a business related workshop.
Okay, before we vote to reject it, does anybody want to speak for it? Okay, case, I'm going to take a vote to reject it then.
Need some
Can I just
second.
Can I second it? We have a seconder.
Can I ask Rich about the organisation? What kind of setup they have? Or?
I mean, it's one of
Field address.
it's one of these you know, organisations where it's an artist, of course, and it does, you know, as we've experienced in the past, sometimes artists use this process to earn money for themselves. That she has got, you know, she has effectively got volunteers and trustees to support the goals of the organisation. Whether that's as real as it might be, I don't know.
Okay.
Anybody want to speak for it? So can we've had a proposal and a seconder against it, so can we vote to reject it?
Are you
I'm sorry.
rejecting that?
I'm rejecting it, we've voted to reject it.
Yep.
Anybody voting for it? Joe?
Around now.
Okay.
You're voting for
No,
it?
I'm abstaining.
You're
Abstaining,
abstaining,
okay.
okay, right. Right, so the next one is the Holmfirth Conservation Group that we are considering at the end, yes? Okay.
No.
This is
you're
not
considering that now.
considering that one now. Right, anybody want to speak for that one? Holmfirth Conservation Group, anybody want to speak for it? Everybody's running out of energy. Come on, we're nearly there.
You run out of batteries on the device. And
Yes.
it's only
Oh, really?
you don't run out of energy.
Okay, right, okay, this one, well, it meets many criteria, so anybody want to propose that we support this? And then we could go through the questions. Support it?
Yeah.
Second it? Okay, can we vote for it? Against it?
Oh, no, we didn't go
Sorry,
that time down.
for it?
7.
Against? Abstentions?
5. Okay.
Okay.
So
Now do we have to
we
go
eliminated
through-
one.
Good.
So
And how much-
we've got about.
Oh, we've got another one.
Oh,
to
no,
look
yeah,
at.
yeah,
you've got the,
Yeah, that's at the end. That's at the end.
Oh, right, okay.
So we've effectively got 18,800 with about 19,000 requested. So
We're
you're
not
quite,
so
the
far
ones
off
that
now.
were iffy on.
you're quite close to it.
Okay, right, so the last ones that we're iffy about, we knock a couple of hundred off and then we'll be
Well,
alright?
you tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, right, well, we'll go.
Wait,
No, just.
It's the arts
no,
festival.
Pardon?
Are we not doing the arts festival before you?
yeah, I
Well,
thought
the
we
Arts
were.
Festival was one
No.
that we approved, but we
No,
didn't.
no,
Oh, did we?
no.
Oh, I wasn't.
We
It
did.
You weren't in the room for
was
that.
if there was any money left.
Yes.
No, it was just we were hearing it last because it's the second one. It wasn't that we
Okay.
weren't going to give it any money or what we were giving, just it was a second
Yeah, I
one.
think it should be looked at now, and
Yeah.
then we do the
Yeah.
next bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I need to leave the
Yes.
room?
Yeah. Get back in the chair. Oh, no, no.
I think we went downstairs.
He's back.
Probably got it on.
I'm gonna keep it.
I had a hand in that for a while, wasn't it?
Okay, so where we left it was that we had 2 grants within one financial year.
Well,
So
if
are we going
if
to
they
discuss
pass
that
this,
first?
it would have to. If
Yeah.
they pass this, they would have to. Well,
So what do we think about that?
To explain the grant to me, that from being fake, but I looked at it and I thought, they've already got a rolling grant for this year for 1,500. And when I looked at that application, it was just talking about what stuff for this year. It wasn't mentioning.
For 3 years?
But if they want to apply for like the 3 years in the future, why don't they just apply for that next year? You don't apply. You've already got funding for this year, so why they applying for funding for next year, this year? I don't understand it.
Does anyone else, do you want to comment on that, David? Sorry, I think David first.
This obviously 2 grants per year. It wasn't the way it just rolls over that they've already had money for one festival, and this is for a separate arts festival.
Yeah.
So we were saying for each arts festival they obviously ran, we would get £1,500 for each one, wouldn't they? Even if it falls within that 2-year period of time, so we done it one figure per each festival, isn't it? So if we've done one, why wouldn't we do the next one, apart from the fact we're skint now? So,
That Damien's covered what I was going to
Is
say.
that right? You've nothing else to add on it?
No, Damien covered it.
Right, so the thing that we haven't resolved is why they're doing a 3-year programme. Why are they talking about a 3-year programme? That's what's confusing you, Tom, isn't it?
Yeah.
When what you should be doing is saying, this is what we're doing in this next festival.
potentially they're not aware of the fact that we've got obviously a council change next year. They
Yeah.
might not be aware of that one there. Simply, for me, we would require to say to them, you're getting the funding or you're not getting the funding,
Yeah.
but we can't discuss the years after that one there because we'll have a new sitting council and we can't tie them into that agreement there. So I think what we should decide on is whether you're going to give them the £1,500 or not. But also that the clerk and staff, right from to say, we can't decide on that there because that's not within our gift. So
Yeah.
would that be okay?
Yeah, not to clarify,
So if
the
this is
situation.
if this is for a second art festival, even though it might have fallen twice within the grant cycle, it's not for the same. It's not like twice, it's not 3 on.
It's not going to the same
And I would
place.
suggest that we would support that one there, because the arts festival is quite a big,
It's massive.
wide-ranging thing, isn't it?
It's good.
And it costs a fortune to run it, and they find funding from elsewhere, so I would support it. So I would propose that we vote in favour of giving them the full.
Okay, so
For
you're going
for 1 year.
For
One year,
one year, yeah.
we can only do it for 1 year.
to, okay, so who's in the second day proposal? So,
I'd like to second, I just wondered if, as Sarah has a long reach into festivals across the valley, if you knew anything about this request, could you enlighten us anymore? I didn't. Right, well, no, yeah, I'd second David's offer then.
okay, so let's vote in favour of giving the £1,500 award.
No, we're not
We're
at
just
that
voting
stage
on
yet.
giving them an award.
Just
Oh,
have
sorry,
to say
Not
how
saying
much.
an award.
Just keep it
Right,
on the
we're
list.
voting on giving the Arts Festival
A grant.
2026 a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unanimous, yeah.
We've already given them £1,500 for it this year.
No, that was,
Wasn't it?
no, that was for the last time.
It's a different project.
Oh, I'm for it then, I think. Fine.
Yeah, it's a brand new one, brand new one.
No, there was a rolling grant before. Someone said there was a rolling
There is a rolling, it's the end, it's the end, one rolling grant has ended this year.
Can we ask them next time if they do the rolling grant to do it for 4 years rather than 3 years? 'Cause 3 years
No,
just means we
it
don't have one grant.
covered a whole
No, yeah,
project.
that's Tom.
It covered a 3-year project
Talk
called Flow.
Do you not understand that, why would you make it easy?
We'll get a whiteboard.
I get it now.
Oh, good.
I
So,
get it now.
how much
It's
have
been a long
we
day.
Yes, we agreed, yes.
to save?
Nothing.
Have we?
Well, we've got £17,335.40 left.
Is that because we've got some money in the assets one and we're saying we're going to spend
Yeah.
that for this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I can work, so just give me a
Yeah.
second, I can calculate how much is still.
So we're not so far off then. I'm getting excited now.
So, yeah.
This is probably got to do something else.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, there is a few more bits. Sorry.
Could you do that while Richard's doing
No,
that?
because we need
No,
to.
I'm done. Oh, no, that didn't work.
Not done.
It's nearly.
So it says he deletes
Sorry.
the spreadsheet, you've got to go back.
Sorry.
Decide what we decide again.
Just give me a few seconds, come on.
This is hard stuff, this is.
No
So
pressure,
have we,
Rich.
have we got to keep
Clock's
quiet?
ticking.
Can
Yeah, I
ask
think we should
questions?
keep quiet because he's got to concentrate. Just,
agreed to via the lawyer?
No, we haven't done anything yet.
I think you can still use him.
Yeah. Just let him have it up, otherwise we might run out of money.
Or hours on the days.
We used to all meetings at Kirkley, so went to bed till 6 o'clock in the morning the other day.
I don't.
Yeah, but they get paid off.
Do you think this is
They
nothing
get
in
paid
comparison?
no sympathy. Don't get paid for 12 and a half hours.
You were another time than
Well,
one.
anyway, that's dropped in the deep end.
So we've got
Don't even speak.
£17,335 in the pot, and we've got grants worth 19,632 that we've got
difference between those?
2,300 quid.
So we've got to find 2,300.
Off something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 grand.
So if we're not,
I got just a minute.
Yeah,
because that comes back to-
or could we just top slice them all? Like
that's
the
fine.
percentage for of which we, the shortfall?
If I knock 100 quid off everything,
Yeah.
It's about 142 quid, I think.
I'd go for a percentage of it.
I would suggest that we don't top slice the Easter bunny.
you
Leave that to Mr. McGregor. The Easter bunny is only 260
Mr.
quid.
Scrooge, isn't it? Yeah.
so the bunny we're going to pay the full amount.
And yeah, in the fact that they're varying amounts, it would be fairer to apply a percentage to the rest of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in actual fact, all of the others are for 1,500 as far as I can see, except
For the
for
Easter bunny.
Well, the actual
vegetarian
partnership.
food,
And the
which is
fried one, not the,
1,370.
what's it, Damien, what's your group called? The one who,
Home pride.
Home Pride. Theirs is for a funny amount as well, isn't it?
theirs wasn't
Theirs.
They're not
No, that's gone.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
gone.
Yes, you're right. Other part, yeah. Okay. So,
I voted against it, I'd like to say. Just saying.
okay,
I voted against it.
are we agreeing to a top slicing of all of them?
I was just going
Councillor
to
Roscoe?
I hadn't proposed it, except for the Easter bunny,
I like to
Lovely.
second councillor Rostrom's suggestion.
we just take the appropriate percentage of each of the others.
and then we work out how we do that.
Well, let me work it out on the basis of...
You do 19,000 divided by 17,000 divided by 19,000.
I've got it at 95%.
Councillor Osborne.
I mean, looking at it, rather than taking a percentage, if we reduced all of them to a maximum of 1,300, so that's taking 200 each off of the 1,500 ones and 70 quid off the vegetarian food.
Okay.
I think that probably about covers the gap.
It's about the percentage, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that seems a reasonable suggestion to
Yes.
me. Does anybody
Do you
want
want
to
to
second that
propose it?
proposal? If
I
you're
would like,
proposing,
okay, I will,
Councillor Ryland is seconding it, and can we all agree?
What's the...
Everybody gets
13.
Except
the Easter bunny.
no, and
There'll be loads of money left in the pot. You can do that, though.
That's like
Is that what you want to do?
No.
So what's up there? If it's maybe 1,300.
If you got to 100, if you not
100 off everybody, and we need it there.
It might be 150 then. mightn't it?
150. Except there's two. There's the Easter bunny and
Right.
the food, the vegetarian food
Oh,
one.
Shall I say 1350? Shall I say 1350
Yes.
for everything and see how
No,
where we get on?
No, because we've still got, and there's three. There's Home Pride.
Home Pride is gone.
Easter
No, sorry, it's the Easter bunny and the veggie food one.
Well, I'll just leave them as they are.
Yes.
Can we
Carry
trust
on.
Rich to work out the exact amounts of this and
Yes.
carry on with the
Yes,
next
we
bits?
can.
Right,
We
Yeah.
trust you.
Anybody who's got the energy can stay behind and do it. But the next thing on the agenda is the chair's expenses, which we can leave to Glenn. And then the schedule of the payments, we have to note the schedule of payments. Anybody happy to note that? To approve the draft schedule of payments for February, approve that,
Yeah.
yes. Financial statements, we're noting all those.
All
Yes.
noted.
And we're considering, as per guidance in the SAPPP Practitioners Guide, to approve the bank reconciliations.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Okay,
can
approve
take
the
a
bank
vote on it.
reconciliations and
Take
so
the
we'll take
vote
a
on it.
vote
Thank
on
you.
it.
Yes. All,
Unanimous. Councillors to review the draft income and expenditure report year to date.
Yeah.
Yes, approving it, yes, can we vote on that?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, there's lots of notes for you on the But everybody will have read the notes on the income and expenditure, haven't you? Yes?
Yes.
Richard, did you give a vote yet?
Yeah. We'll just, I mean, we're only going to say 5 minutes. Just go at a normal pace.
There's some people getting
No,
tired.
go on, but you don't need to be rushing it.
We're actually out, I think we'll read Richard's
And
on
the
earmarked
next bit
reserves.
is for you to report, so I'm waiting.
What am I
for you to
reporting on?
report. The earmarked reserve, RFO to report.
Right. Is it not there?
It's there.
Just read what
Read it to consider it. All earmarked reserves connected to the Gartside building roof and solar project have been reduced to zero. The rolling grants earmarked reserve only contains 1,560 expected to be paid to Honley Business Association in respect of the Honley CCTVs at this
Which
meeting.
we've done, yeah.
We've done. And then we've noted the Rialtas report on earmarked reserve at the end of January.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you consider any further actions?
There aren't any.
There are no further actions. And then the next bit is on the civic, and I want to say that I thought this was a really good report that we got from the civic, and I wish there was a trustee here that I could say thank you to, but neither Andy nor Steve are here. But I thought that was a really thorough update, so if we can pass on our thanks. Any comments, Councillor Bailey?
You won't have time to discuss it now, but I don't understand, I'm probably missing something, why the money is being spent on the foyer when the architect has already said it's going to change radically.
Because it is a very temporary coat of paint type, you know, yes, it will
It'll
cost.
just be paint.
It's just,
It's a large amount.
It is a large amount, but it's quite, you know, it's, well, Jen,
I think part of the reason is they got a grant from Home Valley Memorial Hospital, Friends of Home Valley Memorial Hospital, for that project. That can only be spent on that project as well, and it is about improving the look of it, even if it is going to be changed later.
because the vision is going to take some time to work through, so I think just making it more attractive for the people who use it now is important, so, you know, I think that's. And it is, it's up to the stairs as well, so I think that's fine. The next one is to consider any further actions. The Civic Vision Group, I wanted to report very briefly on that before we go on to ask for some money. We've had 2 meetings, one before the presentation when we established what our remit was, and I think it was very positive that we're working in closer partnership with the trust, so I think that's a good way forward. The presentation itself was very well attended by, I think, probably most people here, and I think it was met with general approval. We'd had authority from the working group to invite Karen to do a pitch on how she felt she could further get money for the project, really, and we agreed that we hadn't got internal skills to apply for that amount of money without some external expertise. So she spoke at the presentation as well. The working group met immediately afterwards, and we agreed that we would ask Karen Horton for her terms of how much she would charge and what she would do. And we also agreed to ask Tim to proceed with the pre-planning application, so to see if there were any things that were unlikely, were likely to cause any problems when we get round to the full application. And we also agreed to ask Tim to get the quantity surveyor to do a costing on the proposals that he'd presented to all of us at the presentation. So those things are ongoing, you know, so at that point, because all of those are ongoing, there is a request for some money for the to pay Karen Horton £2,000, it states it here fairly clearly, commissioning work to develop a fundraising strategy, including looking at certain views of key funders, etc., etc. I presume you've all read this. And to to note that there's likely to be some expense for paying the quantity surveyor. So we want to ask for a budget to cover those that we'll then have to take to full council, I think, for full approval. Any questions on that for the working group, or what are your feelings on paying for those things from this budget?
Can I just add, we also asked that they confirm that there'll be no more hidden surprise costs in terms of things like the quantity surveyor and so on. We thought some of these things weren't budgeted for previously, and we asked that they be clarified.
Yeah, we haven't got an amount for that. We've asked for indications of how much it will cost. I also asked for Karen for indications of cost for whether she actually, further along the line, once she's done the research. So there is likely to be some additional costs that we don't quite know about yet, but they are all working in sequence through the things that we agreed when we paid the 20-odd thousand for the visionary report. So I do think we need a budget for something, for some of those things.
So can I clarify, is what you're asking for expenditure up to a certain amount, maybe 2,500, to develop a fundraising strategy? What you're not doing at the moment is talking about appointing Karen Horton, because clearly we need other estimates first.
Can I check that though? Because I think somebody mentioned that if it was below 3,000, we don't necessarily have to do that.
You would still need to make sure that you've done a value for money check.
Okay.
Even
so
if it's...
three, as it says, you need three estimates.
So,
Not quotations, estimates.
okay.
Yeah.
So can we request, Jen, do you do the request for other?
I mean,
estimates?
you're looking to make a recommendation to full council for the expenditure, aren't you?
Yes.
So presumably from general reserves?
Recommendation
reserves.
from general reserve.
Yeah, so, and then in terms of the finding the other estimates, yeah, you can leave that to me.
You'll do that, thank you. So we want to request 2,500 for the research linked to finding funding, but we do not have a figure yet for the quantity surveyor.
Right. Are you wanting your vision group to make the decision about who you're going to go with for this? You know,
Yes,
I'm just thinking, what I don't want to do is put you in the position where you've been given the money but actually can't do anything with it because you've not had that decision delegated to you.
Okay, well,
Does that make sense?
We've got another vision working group meeting lined up for the 24th of March, so we can approve that spending if we've got the money. Don't we have to approve the money first?
You have to approve the money and approve that we approve that the working group can make that decision.
Right. Okay. Right. So can I ask this group?
I don't think you can. I think
No, this
the
best
working
for
group
council.
is council. You're making a recommendation to council.
We make a
That's all
recommendation.
you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not making any decisions
No,
other than the
We're just making a
recommendation.
recommendation to council. So this group needs to recommend to full council.
Yeah.
We need to vote on recommending to full council.
Okay. Can we vote on recommending to full council? We propose that and second it and then vote on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
But this is a separate bit down
To
here. then.
consider a project budget. And does anybody know how much quantity surveyors are likely to charge us?
Probably about 500 quid an hour.
Yeah, about £5,000. Easy.
Okay.
Expensive.
Yeah, they are very expensive because they are very skilled.
I mean, we do need this costing
There is
because
a lot of imbalance.
our next, well, I think the architect is already working with a quantity surveyor. The quantity surveyor has already visited this building many times.
I think you need more than one
Yeah,
quality
so
surveyor.
again, you need to look at
And I think you don't always work with the buildings chosen quantity surveyor.
if it's above £3,000, then you're going to have to get 3 quotations. So it has to be.
Okay, I'm just, you see, I think at that presentation we actually asked Tim to get the quantity surveyor costing it.
Yes, it's fine to ask, but you still need three quotes, you need his price and two other people's. Quantity surveyors who work with building contractors usually work aligned together to give, they have an end target, they are a business, get two quotes from two other quantity surveyors, there is one just across the road near the tech.
I think we might have stepped slightly out of line here because I think Tim was instructed to get the quantity surveyor to cost it. So I apologise if that was in the sequencing of events of our contract with So
Can I
we'll
suggest
look
that you
into that.
get a costing and then get two other costings and then ask
Okay,
Tim
we'll
to
do that.
reassess his costings
Yes,
as a bit of a buffer.
Yeah,
Mm.
ask for, yeah. Okay, I will look into
I
that.
think you're right,
And
it was
check
seen, I think, as part of the whole package.
It was the package, we were just working through the list of
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
the council had approved when we employed Tim, so, but I will check on that and do everything to make sure that we're following correct procedure. The next thing with the meeting is going to be on the 24th of March when we're really considering how to involve the public in this, because I think if for the project to be successful, we really do have to ensure that the public are on board with this. So it's going to be about how to consult and make sure they're engaged and committed to this project before we proceed any further and before we proceed with changing the plans, because we want to listen genuinely to what the community want rather than say this is it and you can do a bit of fine tuning. We want to be open to that. So if you've got any suggestions for how best to engage with the public about how to proceed with the civic, please let us have that input before the 24th. Okay? Any questions about that?
What about C, Jenny, to consider a project budget encompassing the above?
I find that so hard to say how much I want to ask for because I don't know how much to ask for. Any suggestions?
Is that subject to what the quotes come back?
Yes.
Yes.
Get the quotations, because ultimately it's going to be council who makes the decision. You're only
So
making
we-
recommendations here,
so
so this is putting
we'll
an
get the
extra step
quotations.
in. There's
Yeah.
probably not an awful lot of point to it.
Yeah.
Not
And then we'll try and have that ready for the full council meeting to
Yeah.
make the recommendations.
Yeah.
Okay, are we all happy with that? Yes. Okay, anything else on the agenda?
On the library.
Only
On the
like-
library, again, and we have to consider the change of use, so I'm looking to people who know more about Holly Library. Councillor Baines, I'm going
I
to
was just, well, firstly I was going to note the report, I think it's a good
Yes.
report,
Noted.
as usual.
Noted.
Secondly, I was going to propose that we agree that request.
Okay,
Seconded.
seconded,
Yeah.
voted for it, yes, okay,
It's pretty much the same, it's just a different part of the project, isn't it? So-
okay.
How many items?
Not
Tenancies,
many.
allotments, garages, anything,
Noted.
just
Noted.
noted.
Can I just make it? I've sent them all out. We've got one garage tenant who it seems likely they might have to give theirs up, so I am on with it.
Okay, so you'll go to the next on the list if that happens. Okay, Gartside Building,
Yeah, just to say, we had calls on searching for tenants, but we've had 3 different tenants approach us, and these were considered in part by the Service Provision Committee, but Jam Factory Music School, that when they were looking at the Gartside unit, they couldn't open the door because it's swollen because we've had issues with flooding. So the Service Provision Committee felt it wasn't in a position to make a decision from the 3 organisations that put themselves forward: Milk from the Hills, Heritage Hub and Jam Factory Music School. So a decision was deferred to the 8th of June.
Noted.
okay. Internal Control Check, Councillor Green has undertaken an important job.
Noted.
Banking, Deputy Clerk to report.
It's all going well.
Financial records are going to the website.
Noted.
Publicising the work, are they doing all these, can we Can we
Yes.
recognise any of these?
Yes.
Yeah, immediately, because they can all be approved
Yep.
by us, because
Yep.
that's dedicated
Yep.
to us. Thank you for your patience and your energy.
Well done, Jim.